Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. It's time for TWiT's annual audience survey, and we want to hear from you. Please visit twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. It only takes a few minutes, and your anonymous feedback will help us make TWiT even better. We thank you so much for your continued support. twit.tv/survey. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks Saturday, April 11th, 2015. This is episode 1177. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcasts are brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com. Get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code TechGuy, one word, when you check out. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. The Tech Guy, time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, smartphones, home theater, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. It's a computer technology show. Not really a computer show so much anymore, is it? Hardly talk. Well, I guess we do. We talk about, because the people have the problems with the computers. The people don't have the problems with the iPads and the iPhones. The people have the problems with the computers. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. If you got the problem with the smartphone or the home theater or the computer or the internet, or you just want to share something cool or whatever. 8888 Ask Leo. Somebody tweeted me. I'm at Leo Laporte on the Twitter. Somebody tweeted me, can I call in from Belgium? Of course you can. It's toll-free. That number, 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. But outside that area, you can always use Skype out or some other VoIP and call that way. And we do get callers from all over the world, which is nice. Thanks to the internet, you can hear the show anywhere. Let's see what's going on. I'll give you a kind of a rundown of what's going on in the news. I guess Apple's watch is like out the door. And what is the backlog now if you go to the Apple store? I think it's a couple of months. I think it's June now. I got up at midnight yesterday, 12:01 a.m. Friday morning. Actually, I didn't. And I blew it because, well, I overslept. And so I woke up at 12:09. Whew, you snooze, you lose in this game. Ran. I'm in bed. I go, oh, like I'm late for work. Oh, my. And fortunately, I don't have to throw on clothes. I just ran down the hall to my office, sat down at the computer where I had queued up. In fact, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen this. I queued up on my iPad, my iPhone, and my desktop computer. I had queued up the Apple Store. I had already previously favorited some Apple Watches I wanted to get. It's crazy. This is insane. Now, would I do this if it weren't my job? Probably not. I probably wouldn't. But I feel like I need to get this watch since I'm not one of the anointed few. Actually, it's not that few anymore. The anointed many in the press who get these review units ahead of time. Man, everybody and their brother seems to have got a review, including bloggers, got a review units. But the tech guy, poor old tech guy, no. He's got to get up at midnight, run down the hall in his gym jams, and order online. And I feel very fortunate because I think I got it probably at the last possible moment to get it on the 24th. So the idea was Apple will make, this is crazy. Apple does this every time. It's incredible. I don't know whether to be, I guess I should be happy for them. But I don't know. It's hard for the customer. I was able to, so they're ordered to 10th for availability in 2 weeks on the 24th. So you will get it shipped by the 24th. If you were one of the, I don't know how many to get in right away, because by the time I was there, there was only one thing I could get. So I ordered it. I actually ordered two, one for me, one for my wife, because one of the things about this Apple Watch is it's better with a honey, because you can, send each other heartbeats and drawings and stuff. So I ordered two. I got hers. Will come on the 24th. She says you can wear mine until yours comes, which is not till June. And I think if you're buying the expensive one, remember they have one that goes up to $17,000. I think they're saying now August. Except that if you're Katy Perry or Pharrell or some big shot musician, you already have yours. You had yours a while ago, apparently. Pharrell's showing his off on The Voice. Katy Perry Instagrammed a picture of the $18,000 rose gold version on her wrist. And I thought about this and I realized, oh, I get it. They're not sending this to, politicians. They're not sending it to movie stars. They're sending it to musicians because Apple's about to launch a music service, and they're in a furious competition with Jay-Z's music service, Tidal, for exclusives. And so what better way to get Katy Perry to like Apple and perhaps give them an exclusive on her next album than sending her a $17,000 watch that nobody can get till August? I said, oh, I need a best-selling album if I'm going to get one of these watches. Let's just see the base model, which is a $10,000 watch with a rubber watch band. I'm sorry, Apple calls it fluoroelastomer. Available in June, 2 months from now. But nobody, that's because that's the one no one wants, I would presume. Let's go all the way up to the tippity top of the place where you go, the $17,000 watch. Oh, that's June also. Actually, is that the very best? Because don't you think the competition for the expensive one is to get the most expensive one, which would be the 38 millimeter 18 karat yellow gold case with the bright red modern buckle at a mere $17,000. Let's get small. June, all right. So I guess they've been able to crank these gold ones out. You would think that there wouldn't be a huge demand. So the question everybody's saying, well, are these sold out so fast? Are they back ordered so fast because they only could make 10 of them, or because they really sold out that fast? And I have to say, I think it really is the case that these have sold like crazy, which is contrary to every expectation I had. A lot of us were saying, nobody wears watches anymore. How does Apple expect to sell these, even at the least expensive? We're talking $350. And most people are probably going to want the stainless steel version, which starts around $600 or $700. They can't possibly expect to sell these out. They did. In 10 minutes, they did. As Ethan Pilot in our chat room says, good commercials. Yeah, good commercials. Those probably, it just shows you good marketing can trump even the need people have to have a reason to buy something. They can create a need, can't they? Well, anyway, I was able in my gym jams my little jammies, I have little airplanes on my jammies, to get sit there at my computer at 12:09 a.m. to order at least one. So I'll have one, not next Saturday, but 2 weeks from now. A week from Saturday, I'll have an Apple Watch, and I can tell you, is it worth the money? The reviews are interesting. They're very mixed. If you look at all the reviews, and there are quite a few of them now. For instance, The Verge, Nilay Patel, friend of mine, maybe not the best person to review this. He does wear a studded leather bracelet on one hand, and apparently has been wearing for years a watch with no battery in it, because he doesn't need to know what time it is. It's a style statement. He admits this in the article. It's a beautifully produced article with lots of videos and photos. They had stylists. They really did this up. But even he only gives it a 7 out of 10. He says the best smartwatch to date, and yet it's a lower score than the Moto 360, which is what I'm wearing right now. So I don't understand it. It's a little crazy. I think people who got the watch early, try as you might, they're going to go, thank you, Apple. I owe you one. David Pogue in the Yahoo Tech liked it a lot, but you'd expect that. People are a little worried about battery life. David did ding it for the battery life, and apparently some of the software is less than mature, although who knows, by the time the 24th comes around and the first real people start getting them, maybe they'll have fixed that. I'll let you know. I like the idea of having basically all the functionality of my smartphone on my wrist, and that's what the Apple Watch seems to do. We'll have a review. But meanwhile, let's take calls. 8888 Ask Leo. So this, I was able to order this one for delivery in, that's going to come next month, May 5th or something, so or the end of May. Anyway, it's now June. It's now out to June. So that's the 42 millimeter stainless steel case with Milanese loop. And then Lisa got the same one, but the 38 millimeter, and that's going to come in a week from Friday. So I'll have the 38 millimeter, which might, actually, I'd be interested. She says you can wear it. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Appreciate it. Apple has released iOS 8.3. I think that's probably all about the watch. I'm not sure, although the main feature they talk about is a redesigned emoji keyboard, and now ethnically diverse emojis. So you have, when you I should show you this. When you click on the people, actually it's updating. When you click on a person emoji, and they're normally white, and you hold it, you get a range of white, light to dark, and you could choose the skin tone you prefer. I think there's 6 or 7 of them. I would, I'm going to be sad because I do, and I'll talk about this later, and I did do a review on Before You Buy yesterday for the this lovely Galaxy S6 Edge, which is just a gorgeous phone I really like. But really good camera, by the way. And the fingerprint reader works. Hello. Except that this happens to me every time. Yeah, wrong finger. Hey, I'm giving you my finger. What? Well, see, it's demo nerves. These devices don't like to be shown up. You're not. Well, I can't wait to get the Apple Watch to throw that phone away. No, I really like it. Normally it works. I'm holding it funny. I'm holding it wrong. Now I've tried so many times it's going to make me do the password. But I'll show you. Actually, what I should show you is pictures. I posted them on my SmugMug site because I realized Google Plus was messing with them. These are images out of the. I should go full screen, huh? Really incredible. This by the way, that's a low light one, but the rest of these are, which is really good, and the rest of these are in bright light. And the color, the detail, I've never seen a camera phone look this good. Just incredible. In a variety of, actually now we're in the woods with kind of a odd lighting. So you have a bright sun coming through trees and it's dark below, and handled it beautifully. I feel like this is the best camera I've ever seen. It's my wife climbing on trees. I love this tree. It's split right in half. These are all unretouched JPEGs out of the camera. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me. I bet you he's got a watch. Bruno Mars probably has a watch. Sure, Mark Ronson probably has a watch. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think some of them have watches, but they're not telling you because they don't want people to be jealous and, assume that Apple's got them under their thumb. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. I will talk, just to be fair, about Samsung's newest phone, which I just got last Tuesday, I think, and I love the Galaxy S6. I got the Edge version. And this is the wildest looking phone because the edge of the screen goes right over the side it's like an infinity pool for a smartphone screen. It's beautiful. And interestingly, the highest resolution screen of any a smartphone, 577 dots per inch. So a laser printer, for instance, 300 dots per inch. This is so ridiculously high resolution. You could use a magnifying glass. You wouldn't see any pixels. It's really probably overkill. I don't think anybody needs that. But boy, it sure looks good. The screen, when you're looking at it, feels rock solid, right? And the camera, easily the best camera I've ever used on a smartphone. So I have to say, very positive experience with the Samsung Galaxy S6, except for one thing. Battery life. With a screen of that high resolution, you're not going to get great battery life. And I think the camera uses a lot of juice. It does. I mean, it's so fast. For instance, one of the things you can do is take a picture, press the button, and then rotate around the object. And you get a three-dimensional kind of weird picture that allows you. I'll do it to you, Heather, and I'll post it. Well, you can't post it because you can only see it on the phone. But what's interesting, it does it without any delay. It does panoramas with very little delay. It's so fast, but then it also kills the battery. So I think you have to be judicious in its use or have a plug with you at all times. I've ordered it does do this new quick charge thing. And I've ordered a couple of quick charge comes with one, but I want quick charge plugs everywhere because it'll, as some of the other new phones will do, it'll charge up halfway in about half an hour. All the way in about an hour. So even though battery life's terrible, if you can get to a plug, as you dress for dinner, because don't we all like to go in black tie to dinner? As you dress for dinner, you can have your butler plug it in, and it'll be ready as soon when you are. Or as many Richie Riches do, you could have two of them. One for morning, one for evening. Why not? They're lovely. Do you think people do? They probably do that with a watch. Although the neat thing about the Apple Watch is it has a little spring-loaded button that you could pop the band right off. So you can have, like Tim Cook, the chairman of Apple, who presumably can have any and all of the Apple Watches, wears the rubber band. He says, during the day, I like the fluoro-elastomer rubber band, but if I want to go to a dressier occasion, I can just pop that off and put a different one on. How much is that going to cost you? Well, it just depends. They actually have bands for the Apple Watch. They have bands, a band that costs $7,000. Boom. $7,000. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Heather Hammond's here, the phone ranger. We've talked about smartwatches before. You just don't have an inclination to have a watch on your wrist that's smart or anything else, right? You don't care. Do you care? Hello? I can't hear you anymore. Well, we didn't really want to talk to you anyway. Okay, signal me. Hold up some fingers. Which line should I take? Line 1. Heather, we're going to fix your mic. I don't know what's going on there. Line 1. David in Orange, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, David.
Hey, Leo. You're speaking exactly you're talking about exactly what I called for. I bought the S6 yesterday, and I must say, if you were to equate this phone to a car, a high-performance car, it would be charged a gas guzzler tax because the battery life just is not good at all on this phone.
I know, it's so sad. Now, remember, when you get a new phone or a new watch, you're going to use it a lot in a different way than you will in a few days.
Right.
So I'm hopeful that maybe, and the other thing I'm going to try to do is prune off some of the apps. Unfortunately, Samsung, who'd you get yours from? Which carrier?
Verizon.
Yeah, Samsung and Verizon's bad about this. Loaded up with other stuff. And for instance, I noticed the Amazon app that comes with the phone crashes all the time. So you can't uninstall them. This is the beauty of, Android phones. The carrier or the manufacturer can put stuff on there you can't get rid of, but you can disable it. So I immediately disabled the Amazon app, and I think I might start disabling some other apps to see if I can improve the battery life, because it is disappointing. What are you getting? What'd you get, I guess?
I got the 64 gigabyte.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got the Edge, which has a little bit bigger battery.
Yeah, I just got the regular one. So my question is, it comes with a quick charger, and there's two things about this issue. I was always taught that if you quick charge anything on a battery, that it makes the battery life last less. So my question is, I have a bunch of regular home chargers in the house. Can I use those
Absolutely.
on the S6?
And it supports
Samsung, and they recommended not to.
Oh, no, that's wrong. So here's, I don't know why they recommended that. Maybe they know how bad the battery life is, and they don't.
Yeah, they didn't sound like they really knew too much.
They don't know anything. So here, I'll tell you the story on this. First of all, they built in wireless charging, which is the slowest form of charging. So if they didn't want you to do it, then that doesn't make any sense. So you have Qi or PowerMat, both, which is also the first time I've ever seen that, built in. So what I do overnight is I have a little stand that has wireless charging, and I just put it in that stand. It doesn't have to be plugged in or anything, and it charges, but it charges slowly. It takes a few hours. I should correct you on the one thing that you said, which is I'm told again and again by everybody who does this fast charging, Qualcomm calls it quick charge, that does not hurt the battery.
Okay.
So what they're doing is interesting. I've actually looked into this to understand it. The normal, the power, the wattage of a charger is based on the amount of voltage and the amount of amperage multiplied. Watts equals volts times amps. USB can only do 5 volts, period. So any USB connector you plug into is going to be 5 volts, and the maximum number of amps you see is 2.1. So that's or maybe on a MacBook, because they have to charge the iPad, they give you a little bit more juice. They get to 11 watts. The quick chargers go to 18 watts, and I've actually ordered one that goes to 30 watts. And they do that it's not going to work on USB. You're going to have to plug it into the wall, and the phone has to have special circuitry to handle that. But it's just like a hose. The more juice you put in there, the faster the bucket's going to fill up. And so in this case, use a quick charger when you can. It's the only solution for this sad battery life. And by sad, I'm getting 10 to 12 hours. That's not awful, but it means it doesn't get through the day. I'm going to get up at 7, and by 6 or 5 p.m. that night, it's going to be dead. So I need to charge it at dinner.
Right. Otherwise, it's a beautiful phone.
Oh, my gosh. Have you played with a camera at all? Because it is easily the best camera I've ever seen.
Yeah, still trying to figure it out, but my God, what clarity.
I'm getting such great images. It's almost as good as my digital SLR. So I do recommend this phone if you don't need to be, traveling. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm going to play with this, though, because I'm not going to give up. I am not going to give up. I feel like, by the way, the Edge has a slightly bigger battery, and so in some cases will give you better battery life, but it's still not adequate. I use I plug in or install, when I'm reviewing these phones, something called the GSAM battery monitor, which may in fact hurt battery life. I don't know. I've never seen it does that. But what it does do gives me a really good average over many charges of what I'm getting. And this now is saying 9.27 hours. It also shows you, as now almost all smartphones do, who's using the juice and so forth. But 9.27, 9.5 hours is not enough. That's with a 2-hour, 46-minute screen on time. And the screen is drawing a lot of juice.
No Scott today.
No Scott, yeah. So it says used EW.
Yeah, elsewhere.
So I don't know where else it's used.
Yeah, no.
Should we reboot? I don't want to do that in the middle of a show. Sorry, Heather can just send carrier pigeons.
I'll figure it out.
But I have a lot on here. For instance, it comes with Facebook. And, what I haven't done, the first thing I always do with Facebook is I say, don't prefetch stuff. When I'm first reviewing the phone, I'm going to review it as is without much modification, including, you notice I have a different launcher now. But on the review unit, I'm using TouchWiz and all that stuff initially. It's not a review unit. I bought it. on the device I'm reviewing. But the first thing I almost always do is I first say to Facebook, don't update ever. Let me only update when I explicitly ask you to when I open it. And I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to do that. If that doesn't help, so I'm going to turn off Facebook chat, turn off sounds. Uploading is off. Don't sync my photos. Turn off notifications. Wow, it looks like they have taken out the thing. Wow. I might have to delete it because it looks like they've taken out the... It used to say how often to update. That's not good. So I'm going to... I'm probably going to just... You can't take it off because it's become part of the package. I'm probably going to disable Facebook. I probably should take off everything I don't need. I just love the phone. It's very frustrating. I should go back to the old home launcher because I didn't, on my review, I just ran out of time. I didn't show everything. It's Lollipop, but so heavily skinned by Samsung that who knows, you know. Let's go to apps. Default app. Because the Flipboard on this is great. I don't really like using the default home launchers. I'm using Nova Launcher, which I far prefer. But let's go back to TouchWiz, because then I can show you how it looks out of the box. And of course, I do my review with that. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. That's launching. So this is Flipboard, and they have a special version of Flipboard. Now it's still launching. I was updating. That is just really gorgeous, and it really shows you how fast this thing is. And it's doing it does a lot to see that. Ooh. A lot of wasteful stuff. I feel like there's probably ways to get this phone's battery life a little bit better. Question is how much. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy, has the week off. No home theater today, but I can answer home theater questions as a home theater aficionado. Did you see that yesterday? The bigger launch, as far as I'm concerned, than the Apple Watch was the launch of the digital editions of all 6 Star Wars movies. All 6 of them. So, of course, I think for $90, I bought all 6 of them because why not? Now, you might say, well, Leo, you don't own those, do you? No, I don't, really. I mean, I don't have a physical copy. Although, I still have my Star Wars Laserdisc. Don't have any way to watch it at all, but I have it. I like digital because the truth is it's always going to be good as long as the companies are still around. Now, part of the decision you have to make is who to buy it from. It's available from Apple's iTunes, from Google Play, from Vudu, V-U-D-U, which who owns Vudu? Walmart or somebody? I think Walmart. And then Disney Direct. Now, first of all, don't get it from Disney because Disney doesn't own the first movie, A New Hope, Episode 4, confusingly named Episode 4. Fox owns that, and Disney can't sell it. So if you're going to buy it, don't buy it from Disney. However, and I love this, Disney has a new service called Disney Anywhere that lets you buy it on Google or iTunes or Vudu, and then play it on any of those. So I bought it on Google Play, and I see it in my iTunes library and my Vudu library. That's nice. Thanks to Disney Anywhere, you have to sign up for that. Do not buy it on Amazon. Amazon also has it, and it's the same price everywhere. It's $90 for all 6 movies. Which is, I think, a fair deal. That's $15 a movie. And you own them forever until you pass away, in which case you cannot hand them down. They're yours and yours alone. If you buy it on Amazon, you can't use Disney Anywhere. So unless you know, the only place you're ever going to watch it is stuff that plays back Amazon, which is everything but the Apple TV. I think everything plays Amazon, But and so normally I do buy stuff on Amazon, but this is one case because of Disney Anywhere. You want to buy it on another. So I bought it on Google Play. And I have to say, last night, we watched 1 1/3 of the first 1 1/3 of the second one. We watched A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. And I fell asleep during the Imperial Walker battle. But people are wondering, well, what version? Did you know there are, in fact, if Scott were here, we would be talking about this. Did you know that there are multiple versions of Star Wars? George Lucas has, ever since it came out in 1977, been slowly upgrading the versions to the point where it's almost unrecognizable. So I believe what you're getting, if anybody cares, is, of course, the latest version, which is based on the Blu-ray. And it looks great. It's and even streaming on Chromecast, it looks high def. It looks gorgeous. Colors are very beautiful. But George Lucas has added things. He's added new characters, new computer graphics. He's changed even to the point of, and if you can find this out, I didn't know it, but I looked it up on Wikipedia, to the point where different alternate takes are used for the voice. It's interesting, but Lucas doesn't want anybody to see the original. So of course that immediately tells you there's a group of people who have decided to create what they call a GOUT, George's original, unaltered, theatrical or whatever, but I don't know what the T stands for. It should be GAUV, should be version, but GOUT is easier to remember. And they're doing all sorts of things. They find old prints, old 35 millimeter prints. They've taken various versions from various discs. They merge them together by hand. They're doing all this work. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you look up GOUT on YouTube, you can see a video of the changes they're making, getting rid of the new CGI and stuff. To me, if George wants us to see it this way, I'm going to watch it that way. It's his movie. And it does look great. So all 6 of the Star Wars movies, and it's good timing because this fall for Christmas, the next one comes out, the first Disney Star Wars. J.J. Abrams is directing that. So I do. Sandman says I have the Laserdisc set. I have this original on the Laserdisc, but I don't have a Laserdisc, so I don't know what to do with it. 8888 Ask Leo. I have to say, though, if you're curious, I believe the digital versions look great. And there are a lot of people I know who say, oh, no, Blu-ray only for me. And if that's the case, get Blu-ray. But I feel like I don't want to lug physical discs around. It's just, and who knows how long a Blu-ray player will last. But digital, you're guaranteed until, Google, Amazon, iTunes, Apple, and Vudu go out of business, and Disney goes out of business, you're guaranteed that you'll be able to stream that to something. So in the year 2525, when we have our holographic cube vision, George Lucas, who will have been frozen and revived by then, will have made the definitive version in 3D surround video as well as audio. You'll be happy. You got the digital version. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Valentine is next. In Bulgaria. I love it. Hi, Valentine, or is it Valentine?
Leo, thanks for taking my call.
Great to talk to you.
So I have this MacBook Pro from 2007, and I had to partition the hard drive into 2 partitions because I had to install Mountain Lion, but it is unsupported, and I used ML Pulse Factor for this. And now I am left with 2 partitions, and I want to merge it back into 1 partition. How can I do that?
So, partitioning, there's 2 ways to merge partitions. One's destructive, and you obviously know how to do that with disk utility. You just wipe out the partitioning scheme, format the drive. The good news, I don't think a 2007 would do this, but somebody with a newer Macintosh can do that because you can reload the operating system from the internet, which is an amazing feature. How do you undo it, though, if you want to do it non-destructively? That's a little bit trickier. And I'm not sure. Can you use disk util to do non-destructive partitioning is the question. And for some reason, I feel like you can. That you can resize it. You tried.
I tried with disk utility, but I can delete the second partition, not the system one.
You can delete it, and can you not expand it?
I cannot expand it. Yes, it stays as unpartitioned.
That's okay. So we're going to find that answer for you because I don't know. But here's the beauty of it, Valentin, because you called this show with so many listeners and a giant chat room and everything, we are going to try to get the answer for you. So here's a couple of things you could do. Are you listening on the internet?
Yeah.
Okay, so keep listening on the internet, or go to techguylabs.com sometime in the future, and we may have an answer there. I agree with you. That would be a very nice thing to do. I don't know. There are companies, of course, that make disk tools like Alsoft, but I don't know if they have non-destructive partitioners, because that's what you need is a non-destructive partitioner. But let's look and see if we can find an answer from our chat room.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Hey, thanks. It's great to have you listening in Bulgaria. That's wonderful. Take care. Chuck in San Diego, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chuck. Actually, I got 30 seconds left, so let's start, but we're going to have to put you on hold for a little bit longer.
Okay. Real quick, my home office is growing, and so I'm moving my office from inside the home to a detached garage that I have at the rear of my property, a couple 100 feet from the house.
Okay, hang on. I'm sorry we didn't get it in, but don't worry, you're next. Just going to take a little teensy tiny break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So apparently disk utility does allow non-destructive partitioning, Valentin. Or the disk util command line tool. Now, of course, you want to make a backup here, but I'm going to put in this. This is from Stack Overflow, so this is a good place. I'll put it in the chat room. You don't want to use a window. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, I just pasted the wine recommendation into the chat room. Apologies here. Wait a minute. Don't put that in there. Here we go. There we go. This is from superuser.com. You can come in. It says you can use disk utility. It allows non-destructive resizing of partitions. See this article on how to do this. Alternatively, you can use a command line tool. So I did think that disk utility does allow non-destructive. Are you here for lunch? Okay, hold on a second. It may be because it's an older Mac or an older OS. You need 10.5 or later, which I think you have. Anyway, I put that link in the chat room, which means it will get to the show notes. And it's from a good source, so I think it would be reliable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 888888. I'm stuck. Whoop, we were playing vinyl. 8888 Ask Leo is a number. It always cracks me up. I have friends who are really into vinyl records, record players, spend a lot of money on 180-gram vinyl records, very fancy turntables. But don't you remember with records that they get scratched and they start jumping and it seems to me they wear out pretty quick, don't they? Maybe I'm wrong. We could talk to Heather now. She's got her microphone working.
I don't think they wear out. What you don't want to do is leave them in the front seat of your car on a hot day.
I've done that. When I was a DJ many years ago, you'd have a turntable with a clutch, and you could take the clutch out and back the turntable up so that you could cue up music. And so you'd drop the needle, you'd let it play till the music started, you stop it, take the clutch out, back it up. Now, modern turntables, they don't have clutches, but you could back it up. And you don't stop at the beginning exactly. You go a little inch or two back because it takes a while for the turntable to speed up. Is it a third?
I thought that was sort of the rule.
I can't. It's funny. I don't know the rule because it's built into my muscle memory. I can't.
Right.
I could do it exactly, and then you know exactly how long it's going to take when you hit start for the turntable to play, and so well, if it's 33 1/3 revolutions per minute, or is it per second?
Minute.
Per minute. Couldn't be per
RPM.
second. It'd be taken off like a helicopter. So it's 33 1/3. So a third of a revolution. Here's as a math problem. If Joey has a turntable that turns at 33 1/3 revolutions per minute, and he backs the cue up 1/3 of a disc, how long will it take Joey to play the music? I'll leave that as an exercise for the listener, the dedicated listener. Let's go back to, who are we talking to? Do you remember? Was it Chuck?
in San Diego.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Leo.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But now we have 482 seconds to talk.
Oh, well, I hope it doesn't take nearly that long, sir. My home business has grown to the point where I'm taking on an employee, so I want to move from inside the house to a finished garage I have at the rear of the property.
First of all, congratulations. That's great. You're doubling in size.
Yes, exactly. So I'm picking up my wireless from the house, but it's spotty. The signal isn't real strong, and it's spotty. And I'm wondering if there's a wireless solution. I mean, something better I can do without having to dig a trench.
Yeah, this is a very common question. How far is the garage from the house?
I'm guessing about 150 feet.
You're right at the edge. That's why it's spotty.
Yeah, I've got the router, of course, at the very closest point I can to the garage.
So a couple of things you should know. Wi-Fi always works best line of sight. So if the router is in a window and you can see it in the garage, and then put what you want to do is a repeater, and I'll explain how to do that in a second. But you'll put your repeater in the window in the garage. If they can see each other, you're going to get the best results. The other thing to know is that metal is death to Wi-Fi. All radio frequency has trouble with metal. That's why you can build a Faraday cage, a copper mesh cage that you can see out of, you can talk through, you can breathe through, but the wireless stuff will just get stopped by it. So screens, if you think about it, are exactly that, metal screens anyway. Those could be bad for the Wi-Fi signal. But usually, and I do this too, I've always had to do this, Wi-Fi is nominally, if you get 802.11 AC, the more modern Wi-Fi, it's supposed to go hundreds of feet. But most Wi-Fi, at about 100, 150 feet, you're really starting to get to the edge of it. And what you'll see is the number of bars go down. The fewer bars, the slower the signal, the more likely dropout. Plus, there's an additional factor because your garage may be closer to your neighbor's Wi-Fi access point than yours. And Wi-Fi congestion is becoming a huge problem with many, many Wi-Fi signals in the neighborhood. So that's why it's a good idea to get a Wi-Fi analyzer. They're free ones for both Mac and Windows, and even for your smartphone, that'll help you understand what bands are available, what other Wi-Fi is visible. You can even see it graphically. That's very helpful. And then generally what I like to do is get an extender. So you should get the same manufacturer as the Wi-Fi access point itself. So if it's Linksys makes an extender. If it's, I use an Apple Airport Express as an extender to the Airport Extreme. If it's D-Link, they have an extender. If it's Netgear, they have it. All the companies make extenders. So who makes your Wi-Fi access point?
I'm using the one that came from the cable company from Cox. I believe it's a Motorola.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate. That's part of the problem.
I have an external wireless router just plugged in, hardwired into my...
Well, there's a couple of things you can do. First thing I would do is try an extender, see if it works. If you match a chipset, that's sufficient. But who knows what the chipset is? You're going to have to go and Google the actual part number, the product number on the back of the... They give you, Comcast and other companies do this, they give you both a cable modem that has a router in it with wireless. You can always, try to extend it. Where you'll want to, ideally the extender would be midway, but obviously that's going to be the driveway, so you don't want to do that. So what I would do is I would put both the extender and the access point in the window if you have it. If you can somehow get them to see each other, that might be sufficient. You can even buy directional antennas that will actually make it possible to go kilometers, thousands of meters apart, as long as they're line of sight and they're aimed right at each other on both sides. So it is possible to get Wi-Fi to work better. You do not have to do it wired.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck. You can do it. If worst case scenario, you can't get it to work with the Comcast supplied access point, I actually always get my own. For one thing, I don't want to pay $7, $8, $9, $10 a month renting the junky equipment the cable company gives me. So you can ask them, can I use my own cable modem? They will say, yes, you can get these models. Or just continue to use their cable modem, turn off the Wi-Fi part of that. You do want to be able to disable that and connect hardwired into a better Wi-Fi access point. There are, of course, ASUS makes great ones. I use Apple, as I said. Generally, $40 models are not as good as $140 models. There is a rough correspondence between price and capability. And so I recommend getting a good Wi-Fi access spot and then getting its sister extender at the other end. And I think you'll get much better results. And you should be able to cover that 150 feet and get full quality Wi-Fi between the two of them. Lovetta in Pomona, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lovetta.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I have just a very small problem. I say small.
Okay.
On the top of all of your word processing programs is the toolbar.
Yes.
Well, how can you enlarge that toolbar when you can't see that toolbar?
Oh, most people want to make it smaller because it's so big. Are you using Microsoft? Are you using Microsoft Word?
I have Word, yes.
Oh, you have other ones.
Yes.
Yes.
But I prefer Word.
Yeah. So
and I literally cannot see it.
Yeah, you have to kind of take off your glasses and get real close to it. No?
I can't do that. I'm blind in one eye and can't see out of the other.
Ah, well then you really do need to make it bigger. So are you on Windows?
I know I'm on the latest on MacBook Pro.
Okay. So both Windows and Mac have magnifiers that will allow you to hover over the toolbar with a magnifier and make it very big. There are ways to increase the size of the toolbar, I think, but in a kind of funky way, like the text and the buttons will get bigger, which is probably all you need, but the toolbar itself won't. It's going to look ugly. We got a break, but when we come back, I'll explain how to do that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, I'm wrong. The only way to do it, and I'm still talking to you, Lovetta, even though we're in commercial.
Okay.
The only way to do it is to change your screen resolution. I was wrong. I thought there'd be a way in Word, but there isn't. So, yeah. So my first choice would be to use one of the accessibility features on your Macintosh. Macintosh has pretty good accessibility. There's a zoom that I use all the time. In fact,
I have that.
Yeah, where you hold, if you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, it's easiest. I
just use the trackpad.
You can do it with a trackpad. I would get a mouse with a scroll wheel because then it makes it easier. But you hold down the control key and you can scroll in and you can make stuff big. I have a friend with macular degeneration. He actually makes it so big it's like one letter for the whole screen, but boy, you can read it. So
I guess you could.
Yeah, and it's just temporary. You can toggle it in and out. If you press Command, what is that? Command Shift B. You can toggle the zoom on or off. There's a whole bunch of stuff. If you go into your control panel, I just toggled it off. Command Shift B. Let's turn it back on. If you go into your control panel, you'll see there's a whole bunch of settings under the accessibility system preferences. And one of them is zoom. So you can also use a scroll gesture with modify case to zoom. Oh, actually, that's what I'm using, control. And you can change it from control to something else. You can also have zoom follow keyboard focus, which is an interesting thing. It'll allow you to tab to the toolbar, and then it'll get big. There's a whole bunch of zooming options, and you can say what the maximum zoom is. There's all sorts of stuff. So I would use the Macintosh's own operating system. Apple's done, I think, a very good job for accessibility. And so the accessibility, I keep calling it control panel. It's a system preference pane.
Okay.
And you can even add that to your menu bar with a check mark so that you could then quickly go to it and change it.
Okay. Well, I definitely need it.
Mike B says you
Even
can...
with a 17-inch monitor, I definitely need it.
And then you can always change the resolution of the monitor to make everything bigger, which might help.
How do you change the resolution of the monitor?
You go to the system preference pane, and you can. There's a scaled preference that you can make the monitor be bigger, and it really gets bigger. It also looks funky on my screen, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But you can definitely mess with that. Now, Mike B is telling me in the chat room. I don't know, Mike, is that Windows or Mac? He's saying, see, that's zooming the document. I know what he's saying. There's a slider in Microsoft Word at the lower right-hand corner where you can slide the size of the text, but that's not helping you with a ribbon. You want to make the ribbon easier. I would say the best thing to do would be to use that slider on the text to make it big so you can see it big, and then when you need to, zoom in on the ribbon to make the selections. I use this zoom all the time because we're always showing text, on the videos big. And I do that because I've turned it on, pressing the control key and zooming back and forth. I think it's a swipe. I think it's a swipe or it might be a pinch on the trackpad.
A pinch or swipe.
Yeah.
And it's called a zoom in.
Yeah. But look in the system preference panes. Under system preferences, there's an accessibility option. Right. And look at the zoom in the accessibility because there's a lot you can do. Macs are great that way. As I said, my friend with macular degeneration would literally have one big character on the screen at a time, but he was still able to read that way, and it was great. It was,
Well, that's why I upgraded to the iPhone 6 Plus.
Yes, excellent accessibility. Yes.
Bigger.
Yep.
Yes. Excellent.
Yes. Excellent. 17 inches is a small monitor, but you can zoom in so that it fills the screen and read it easily.
That's not small when you're in a MacBook Pro, though.
No, it's big. In fact, they don't even make that one anymore. So yeah, keep that. For a laptop, that's gigantic.
It is, and it's very heavy.
Yeah, you don't go anywhere with it.
Don't go anywhere with it except from one room to the other.
Right. Lavetta, great to talk to you.
Much.
I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you. Take
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, I always turn it off on the trackpad because I accidentally do it all. I have two finger. So you want to do the scroll, hold down the control key and use two fingers in the trackpad to make it bigger or small. I like to use a mouse for that because I can also then position it with the mouse as well as scroll it in. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. We're talking computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. It's technology for the people. 888-827-5536. We also have a great website, techguylabs.com. It's free, open to all. There's no sign up. There's no cost. But what we do is we put the show notes there. So as I talk, we've actually hired people. James DeRuvo's writing things down as I talk to get them up there as quickly as possible. Then Josh Windish comes in and enhances, elaborates, puts in a tip of the week, and we also adds audio and video after the fact, so you can watch or listen to the show after the fact, all at techguylabs.com. It's also a place for you to comment. So we were talking about how to make the toolbar in Microsoft Word bigger, and it turns out Lavette was using a Macintosh, so that's an easy thing to do. Actually, both Windows and Mac have magnifiers. The Macintosh, if you go into the accessibility system preference pane, you'll see there's a zoom setting, and you can do all sorts of things. I always zoom in with my mouse. So I'll hover the pointer over a part of the screen, press the control key, and then I can, with the scroll wheel on the mouse, zoom in as close as I want. So for someone with low vision, that's fabulous. That means you can read anything you want. And make it as big as you want, and then zoom right back. Windows has a magnifier, which is similar. It's like a magnifying glass. It opens a pane at the top of the window, and then whatever you hover the magnifying glass cursor over is magnified up in the pane. That might even be an easier way to do it. So it's absolutely doable. But there isn't a way built into Word, I'm sorry to say, to make the toolbars bigger. I thought there was, but after doing a little research, I found no. You can make the text bigger in the Word window easily. There's a little slider to do that. I do that all the time also. But you can't. The toolbar is the toolbar. Lawrence is next. He's in Newport Beach, California. Hi, Lawrence. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Hey, I'm a big fan. I've been listening a long time, and I'm pretty nervous here. But
well, let me ask you more importantly, did hand shoot first Never mind. Don't worry. We're talking Star Wars. A little bit of Star Wars fandom going on in the chat room.
I don't remember.
You know what? I've watched it again and again, and I can't tell.
I have short-term loss of long-term memory.
Me too.
So I've been wearing my Samsung Neo smartwatch for about a year, and I'm a heavy user, so I have a lot of experience.
Right on.
And so I've been listening to the reviews and stuff, and people say you can do everything on your phone, so why would you have a watch? Well, I have the number one reason, and I think this is going to change a lot of minds about a smartwatch. The number one reason, I have other reasons, but the number one reason is if you leave your phone in a restaurant and you can't get halfway to your car without your watch telling you that you left your phone in the restaurant.
I love that. Isn't that good? Yeah.
Many, many times I've left my phone somewhere, even though I keep it in the pouch, but I'll leave it in the restaurant, and it has saved my butt many times. So if anybody's thinking about why should I have it, just that right there, it pays for itself. And in many other uses too, but you
have one of the early smartwatches from Samsung. They were among the first to create them. Pebble and Samsung kind of pioneered this. And everybody knew that Apple was doing a smartwatch, but knew that it would be a way off. So now that it's finally come out, it'll be interesting to see how Apple has learned from what Samsung and Pebble and others have done. I presume they've learned. We'll see if they improve on it. I don't know if it has that feature. Actually, that's a good question. Will the Apple Watch tell you if you left your iPhone in the restaurant after you get far enough away? Because I agree with you. That's a good feature.
It tells you that your Bluetooth has been disconnected.
Right.
Because that's how it works.
Right.
So then all of a sudden so yes, it'll automatically do it by default it doesn't come out and say, hey, stupid, you left your phone in the restaurant. It says your Bluetooth is disconnected.
Right.
So then I look at my watch and I said, oh, shoot. And I run back in there and it's happened countless times. So anybody thinks that there's no reason to get one, that's number one right there.
How do you use it, Lawrence? There's two primary ways people use smartwatches. One is to duplicate notifications on the phone, so that when the phone rings or you get a text message, you just look at your wrist and you go, aha, I see somebody's calling. I know who's calling me. And some of these watches you can actually answer. The Apple Watch, you can answer on the watch. Or to use it as a health device, because that's the other common use, as a pedometer, as a way of keeping track of your exercise. Or do you use both?
Well, I do both. I keep my phone in a pouch on my belt, even though it looks funny. But then what happens is I also have a Bluetooth around my neck, and so if I get a call, I'm a worker bee. I'm out working hard in the warehouse or whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm at, and if I get a call, I look at my watch and I say, and I want to take the call. I push the button on my Bluetooth, take the call, and then hang up that same way too, and I don't have to pick up my phone.
Yeah.
So I only pick up my phone half the time throughout the day.
That's a good reason.
That's number two reason right there is and if you're a woman, you want to leave your phone in the purse, you don't have to go digging through your purse every time the phone rings.
I agree.
You look at your watch
Most of the people who've been early Apple Watch users are saying exactly that. You can do everything on your watch. We have a woman in the chat room who is an attorney, a defense attorney. And, of course, the first thing that happens when you go into a courtroom is the judge, and they tend to be very strict, says, turn off your phone. If I hear a phone ring, I'm taking it. And so, but at the same time, she may have clients who need to reach her urgently. She says it's going to be a great boon for me because I can silence my phone. And then if somebody calls, I can kind of look at my watch, which is not prohibited in the courtroom. So there are times, and you're on the warehouse floor similarly, there are times when you don't want to have to answer the phone. You're busy. The watch could be useful for that. I've been wearing a Motorola 360. That's an Android Wear watch since they came out about 6 months ago. And I do like it. I don't need it. That may be something different between you and me. I don't know, Lawrence. If I leave the house without my smartwatch, I don't go, I got to turn around. Do you have to turn around?
Yeah, well, yes. Here's another good one, is if your phone is on a charger somewhere and you're walking around working, then it can still be charging. Then you don't have to run all the way back to your phone.
Good point.
The other one is I don't get good reception deep inside my warehouse. So I put my charger or I put my phone somewhere where there is good reception, and I have pretty good range on the Bluetooth, and I can keep working in there and still get calls that I would miss otherwise.
I think
So
all
the
good reasons.
are many.
Yeah.
Many reasons to have one. I might have just made Apple another million.
Thank you, Lawrence. I appreciate it.
If you're thinking on getting one, there's the top reasons right there. I love mine. I absolutely love mine. It actually, I lost it. I went right out and bought another one.
Wow.
Felt naked without it.
Okay, there's the answer. You do have to have it. Yeah. All right. Hey, I appreciate the call, Lawrence. One thing the Apple Watch is doing, and I understand that Android Wear watches have this capability and it will be turned on, that I find fascinating, is they don't just use Bluetooth, they use Wi-Fi. So at home, where you probably have Wi-Fi, at work where you probably have Wi-Fi, if your phone if your phone has joined that Wi-Fi network and your watch is on the same network, you can be in the other part of the building and it'll still work. You can leave your phone on your desk, go up to the boss's office, and still your watch will work. Or in your house, you can leave it on your nightstand charging and go anywhere in the house. And as long as you're all both on the same Wi-Fi network, the watch will continue to work. Apparently, that Android Wear has had that capability all along. It's just never been turned on. I'm curious to see when they turn it on, because I think that is very interesting. It's key though. That the watch, and this is something most watches don't do. Some of the Samsungs do. I think the ability to take the phone call on the watch is interesting. So then you really can do everything on the. So I mean, you wouldn't want to spend a lot of time on it, but if you want a quick like, hello, what are you doing? Oh, I'll be right there. Okay, get over here, and that would work. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I have to see, and nobody's talked about this yet, how well the speaker on the Apple Watch works. You can Siri it, so you just turn it up and you say, hey, Siri, and it'll do something, which is cool. Sorry if I just activated your Siri. I apologize. But I love it that I can, leave and this will be a huge benefit to me, that I can leave my phone in my office charging and wander around the studio and the building and still be connected to my phone, even though I'm well beyond Bluetooth distance. And the same thing at home. No waterproofing in the Up 3. It's not fully waterproof, right? It's water resistant, I thought. Well, I know. I use an Android phone right now. I love it with my Moto 360. But obviously, I'm going to have to use an Apple phone at least for a few weeks to try the Apple Watch. I have a feeling the main reason I use an Android phone, I think, well, besides the fact that in every respect it's a better phone. I just love this phone. But the main reason I use an Android phone is notifications. So the fact that I don't have to, on the iPhone you have a grid of icons and you have to launch an icon to really do anything. On an Android phone, this actually isn't a good example because this isn't my home. I'll put my normal home on it. On an Android phone, the widgets give you so much information. The screen is a little bit touchy. I think they're going to do an update because the sensitivity is too high. Default applications, home. Let's go back to my launcher. It's going to rebuild it there. So you see how much information I have on the screen. This is the home screen. So I have my calendar, and I don't have to launch the calendar app. This scrolls. Oops. This scrolls. So I can see my calendar. If I want weather, I can just tap the weather and I get a pop-up. So I don't have to launch an application. Here's more of my calendar. Here's my to-do list. Here's my messages, my Google Hangouts messages, text messages. Here's news, and I can, without launching an app. So this, to me, is one of the main reasons I love Android, is that I have kind of a control panel without launching apps. And Apple feels very constrained to me, the iPhone. But isn't that really what the Apple Watch does, is give you access to all this stuff on the watch? So in a way, the watch is the widgets for the Apple iPhone. Now, I'm going to have to see if it's big enough to be usable, but can you vertically scroll by swiping the curved edges? No. The curved edges don't do much. There's a little Actually, I have to turn off the screen for this to work. There's a few things you could do with a curved edge, but it's really... Okay, now you see I have a few like informational things. Stocks, Coachella lineup. I don't know what that is. News updates, sports scores. You can't quite read that. So that's really all the edge is good for. If you have the phone face down, you can have 5 contacts that have their own color. It will glow with the color of one of those contacts if they text or phone. It's not. It's silly. The edge is really cosmetic because it's like the infinity pool. It's beautiful. It's pretty though. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number. To San Diego we go. That's where Ed is waiting. Hi, Ed.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I love Star Wars. I have my VHS copies still.
See, so we were talking off the air about these fanatical Star Wars fans, people who probably were kids when they came out and they kind of grew up with Star Wars, who are very upset with George Lucas for modifying them over the years, and sometimes in cheesy ways.
I have the DVD versions too. The deep graphics that they put in it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, I don't, I did not grow up with Star Wars. I'm not the hugest Star Wars fan. So for me, the digital versions, it's great to have them.
Sure.
I'll let the 12-year-old watch them, and that's his first experience. For him, that'll be the definitive Star Wars, right? I figure it's George Lucas's movie. If he feels like he wants to enhance it, it's his right to do. It is a shame that you can't choose the version you want. I wish they would release a high-quality digitization of the original movie, and then you could say, well, I like the original Star Wars, but George doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
They even changed the Fox 20th Century Fox fanfare at the beginning. I mean, some of the things they've tweaked, it's bizarre. So what can I do for you?
I bought a Skype system, which is a doorbell with a little camera in it.
Yeah. How do you like that? I've wanted to know about these.
Well, they're easy to hook up. It took me 10 minutes.
I'm very tempted to get one because that way you have a camera. Somebody comes, rings the doorbell. You can actually open up it's on your smartphone, right? You open up the app on your smartphone.
Yeah, any smartphone can be Android or iOS, can be either version.
I think this is such a cool idea. So how do you like it?
Well, I haven't gotten it to work.
Oh.
And I've called the company several times. And this is the frustrating part is I looked at the reviews afterwards, and they do talk about tech support being marginal. And I know what it is. It's the complexity of the various systems out there.
Does it use Wi-Fi? How does it communicate?
It only uses Wi-Fi.
Right. That makes sense because it has to be fast enough to send video.
Right.
So you have to have a Wi-Fi network in your house, and I presume when you install the doorbell, you will connect it to the Wi-Fi network.
Yep. And so I've done all that. I've tried to connect it and that's where I run into my problem. And here's one of the things with it is you have to have a 2.4 gigahertz system. And I think that I'm above that. I think that that's why I'm having difficulty. But it doesn't tell me the specific reason why it's not configuring. It just says it's having trouble configuring it. Now, I have AT&T's UVerse with their latest.
It's almost Wi-Fi certain that. So Wi-Fi originally was at 2.4 gigahertz. They added 5 gigahertz with 802.11a, and it's been present in G, and it's present now in AC. It's been present in N. But I don't know of any routers that only do 5 gigahertz. It's almost certain you have a dual band router.
Well, that's what I thought. I've gone online and looked at it, and most people do say that it's dual band.
Yeah, I don't think anybody makes a Wi-Fi router that's only 5 gigahertz. We often recommend using 5 gigahertz because it's less crowded. Part of your problem might be there's a lot of people using 2.4 gigahertz. Do you see a lot of Wi-Fi signals in your neighborhood?
Well, we were the first for AT&T that I saw in my neighborhood.
It's not AT&T. It's just in general.
There's probably, I think there's only like 6.
That's not
come up on mine.
That's not horrible, but that could be confusing the doorbell.
Sure. And only 2 of them, but they step you through how to point it to your Wi-Fi, and then you put in your code.
So does it not see it?
It just says that the configuration's wrong to check my Wi-Fi settings. That's why I thought maybe I'm configured for 5 and it wants a 2.4.
No, you can't turn off the 2.4. Make sure you're using the right SSID, the right name. Sometimes it's different. On my Apple, for instance, it says I have 2 routers. I have a Winehouse, and then I have a Winehouse 5 gigahertz. Make sure you choose the right one. But then also, are you password protected?
It is password protected.
And does that handle the password? Do they have a way of handling that?
Yep, it asks you for your SSID right away.
Okay.
For your SSID, and then it wants you to identify your SSID, and then put in your
and then enter your password.
And then so it's
so when you search on the internet, you see people complaining about tech support, but do you see people complaining about this problem?
I can't remember if I saw that particular problem or not, but
it's expensive.
I thought maybe there was some way to make my Wi-Fi change, but you said it searches both all the time.
It should see the one that it's compatible with. Do you see your SSID pop up?
Oh yes.
So it's seeing it. And
I actually see 2 of them. I have 2. One is because we have the wireless UVerse boxes in the house.
Yeah.
And so there's a separate one that's connected to my main Wi-Fi box.
One thing I would do, get on your smartphone or your laptop a Wi-Fi analyzer program. There's many for both Windows and Mac and Android and iOS. And one of the things I would do is turn that on, look at the graph standing next to your router, then go out to your doorbell and see it may be confused by other signals. That's really started to become a real problem, especially at 2.4 gigahertz. It may be look and see what you see. It may be too weak to get out to the doorbell. If the doorbell is on, you're going to glue it next to your door, of course. Maybe that particular wall has a lot of metal in it that's interfering. One thing I would try is, if it's not too late, is set up the doorbell next to your Wi-Fi access router. See if it works when it's right there. If it does, then maybe that's the issue is signal strength at your door.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So can you remove it? Is it screwed in or is it glued in?
It's now attached to where the doorbell goes. It's screwed into the wall.
Okay. I would try configuring.
Move my Wi-Fi closer. Though.
Or you could do that too. Try configuring it with as close as you can get to the Wi-Fi access point first. See if that. I was wondering
if that might be the problem, because it does talk about range capability, and I've got one of the analyzers to check the signal strength, and my signal strength is coming up double what they require.
Oh well, that shouldn't be the issue.
So I was thinking maybe the lesser confusion might be at nighttime when there's less.
Our chat room, a guy in our chat room, Sci-Fi Fan, says he had the same issue with his Skybell. He said, keep calling them. How did they fix it? Did they send you a new one? Was it a bad unit? Or was there a fix in software or in configuration that maybe Ed can apply? That's the question. But the first thing I would try is reset it. Pull the batteries or reset it if there's a reset button. Get it next to your Wi-Fi router. See if you can configure it there. And you may need to change. The analyzer will help you know which channels are available and all of that. It may just be broken. I should order one and try it. Thanks for the call, Ed. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. More calls right after this. Sci-Fi Man says they sent him a new one, and one that they had tested. So there you go. Where are you, Johnny?
Hey, Leo, how you doing? I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
I've been seeing all that great Texas food you've been eating.
Oh, man, I've been eating way too much Texan food. And I'm about to go to the Texas Motor Speedway for NASCAR. And,
awesome. I see you have your Texas hat on.
Yeah, well, that's because my hair is a mess.
Oh, you look good.
I went to the opening day of the Rangers game yesterday.
Oh, good. I saw that too. Do they have queso in Fort Worth? Was that
I
in
don't
Austin?
know.
That
I
might
would
be a
think-
Tex-Mex thing.
No, I think they must have it. But
I love Fort Worth. Have you been to Billy Bob's yet?
I went last night.
Isn't that fun?
I just posted a picture of me on the bull last night.
Isn't Billy Bob's amazing?
I could not. I didn't want him to go, and then I was like a honky tonk. So then I went. It's 100,000 square feet. 6,000 people are in there. They have live bull riding, not like a mechanical bull. It's real bull riders riding this thing. I was like, can I get on it? They're like, you don't want to get on it, and they're right. You would die. You would die. I would die. So it's amazing.
Or
place.
suffer a severe spinal cord injury.
Oh my God, it's insane. But it was a lot of fun.
Look
We
at
stayed
you
for
on
a
there.
while.
Who are you with on there?
I'm with my buddy Lee Abamonte and our host here in Fort Worth. They're actually doing a contest around our trip, so people can win the same thing that we're doing.
You look so cute in that cowboy hat. That is a great picture. I love that.
Oh man, it was fun.
Donut holes. Oh, don't eat that. That'll kill you.
Dude, it's too late.
Oh, burrito.
It's too late.
Oh,
And then I went to this
Texas
distillery.
whiskey.
It's real. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh man. So follow Johnny on Instagram. You'll see more of this stuff designed to make you so hungry. Fort Worth is just outside of Dallas. They're kind of two peas in a pod.
17 miles.
Yeah, and I really like Fort Worth a lot.
It's my first time here, and actually I just did a tour of Dallas Cowboy Stadium, which is in Arlington, but about 20 minutes from here. And I just did a tour of that, and that's an amazing stadium. I don't know if you've been to that.
I haven't been to the new one. No.
Oh my God, they have 1,600 flat screen TVs. besides the huge Mitsubishi that is like 1.2 tons or something.
Billy Bob's, Texas. That is something.
Yeah, you got to go to Billy Bob's. I bought a
Billy
t-shirt.
Bob's.
I rarely buy t-shirts of where I go, but I bought one last night at Billy Bob's.
You've been there. You've been there. Did you go two-stepping? I love the line dancing they do. I line danced at Billy Bob's and I two-stepped. That was fun.
See that. I did not see that.
We should go down there for their 4th of July picnic.
Actually, they're having a big 4th of July. That's a huge thing for them. They're just
Jeff
talking
Walker,
about it.
Merle Haggard. Wow.
Yeah.
That big old jet airliner bringing us Johnny Jet, our travel guru at johnnyjet.com. Each week he joins us to give us tips on how to use technology to get better experiences traveling to save money. And Johnny comes off of last night was on the Mechanical Bull at Billy Bob's, Texas. That is some picture. You're in Fort Worth. I'm so jealous. I love Fort Worth. You know, that's where the West begins.
It sure does.
Yeah.
And actually, that was not a mechanical bull. That was just a
dummy.
Yeah.
A non-moving
I wish I could say that.
bull.
But that would have been good if I was doing a selfie on a,
that's great.
on a mechanical bull.
You look like you're having a good time there.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Really did.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Johnny. You're in Fort Worth just for fun, but you probably have some good tips for us anyway, right?
I sure do. So my first website is called Dream Cheaper. So dreamcheaper.com. And so what's great about this, it's a Germany-based website, which is not what's great about it. What's great about it is that any hotel you book online or wherever, and they send you a confirmation, as long as you have a fully refundable hotel room, you just forward your reservations to hotel@dreamcheaper.com.
This is brilliant.
And it will continuously check for a cheaper room. If it finds one, it will automatically cancel your your other reservation and rebook you. First, it will rebook you, then cancel, so you don't have to worry about losing a room.
Brilliant.
And they claim they save up to 60% on rooms. I haven't tried it yet. It's brand new, and then I've heard two things. One is that you can choose how much money you want to pay them for a referral fee, or I've read that they charge you 20% of the savings that you saved.
Well, I'd take that. That means I get 80% of the savings. I'd take that. That sounds like a good deal.
It's a no-brainer.
The only thing that worries me is usually the cheapest rooms that you're going to book are non-refundable, right?
Well, these are always going to be refundable because they keep changing. They'll keep canceling it.
So you're going to have to book a more expensive room maybe than you would normally. And I'm wondering maybe if am I still going to save money doing it that way?
Well, the hotel, it all depends.
I guess
so
it all depends.
It all depends on the hotel, but no, there's a lot of policies that will let you cancel, no problem. You just have to cancel
within
most
24
of the cheap
hours.
rooms. It's usually within 24 hours now. It used to be up until 6 p.m. that day. They changed it. A lot of the major chains, like Marriott and Hilton, but you can. Most of them will allow you to change 24 hours in advance. So
I'm gonna do this. Have you been doing this?
No, I just learned about it, and I just wrote about it, and actually just tweeted it out just in case you want.
So you don't actually sign up until you have a booking. It just says
you have to have a booking. Then you just forward it.
So they don't. You don't need to have an account yet.
No, so you don't even sign up to anything. All you do is forward it, and then they'll send you an email, and you then register, which is just
it's wild. So tell me again the email.
It's called the email is hotel@dreamcheaper.com.
That's all you need. You don't need a website.
That's all you need to do.
Next time you got a hotel booking, forward it to hotel@dreamcheaper.com. Now, it won't obviously be able to rebook you until you've signed up. So they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, we found a better rate. Sign up now. We'll rebook you." I would guess that's how it works.
I would guess. I haven't tried it. I'm about to book a hotel room for next week, which, by the way, I will not be able to be on the radio next week.
Where are you going to be that you can't be on the radio?
Well, next Saturday, I'm actually speaking at the LA Times book show.
Oh, that's fun. You've been doing this a lot. That's great.
Well, this is the book show, and they actually kind of put the travel into it. But so I'm speaking exactly at the same time as our panel or time as the show. And then the next day, I'm going far away.
And you're not going to tell us, are you?
I'm not going to tell you, but I do have an app for you if you want a cool app.
Yes.
Okay, so this one is called Mobile Passport. So the website is MOBILE passport.com. Actually, .us. Sorry, not .com. .us.
Expedite your entry into the U.S.
This is by the U.S. government. So
is it for Americans or is it for
it's for Americans and it's for Canadians who have a B1 and B2 visa. So this, I've always touted global entry, which you need to sign up, and I assume you have it. Do you have global entry?
No, because I don't travel enough to make it work.
Okay, well, anyway, global entry. When I land, I just cruise right through to a kiosk and everything. Well, now here, if you're landing in either Atlanta, Miami, Seattle, and soon to be O'Hare and Chicago, you download this app either for iOS or Android. You put in ahead of time, you register, you put all your passport info details, anyone who you're traveling with, family members, you can put them into, because all you have to do is one form. And as long as you have Wi-Fi, when you land at those airports, which you will have Wi-Fi because they offer it, you just submit it wireless. You just answer the 4 questions that you normally answer on the written customs form. This is all on your app, so you don't have to do it. You don't have to look for a pen or anything. And then they'll give you a secure code, and you just bypass the line.
What? You still have to go and they look into the customs guy's eyes, right, and say
yes. But you don't have to wait in the long line. There'll be a shorter line. You just follow the signs and say.
This is great, but it's only those 4 airports. I can't use it anywhere else.
Actually, it's only those 3 airports right now.
Okay.
Chicago's coming. So it's only good for Atlanta, Seattle, and Miami.
All right.
But
But I imagine if this works, that the U.S. Customs and Border Protection will put this
in Atlanta.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Atlanta was the first one. So I waited till they started doing the other ones, and now it's starting to grow. If all the airports have it, I mean, that's definitely going to free up a lot of custom agents.
The global entry is still better, though, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, I love global entry, and I told people.
So I don't even have to get in a line at all for global entry. I just kind of walk by a machine or something.
So next time you land in the U.S., look for the next global entry signs, and it's usually 10 kiosks or however many they have, and you'll see people. Actually, there won't be that many people using them, but all you do is it takes a photo of you. You do your passport, your fingerprints, and then you answer the questions on the screen, and then it prints out a form, and then you walk up to a agent, he quickly looks at it, and then you go through customs where you just show your receipt.
So it's even a little faster if you have global entry.
It's so much faster.
But you got to sign up for it and pay for it.
You do, and you have to have a background check.
Right. You have to go to an airport and they grill you.
But that's $100. Global entry is $100 for 5 years. My tip is that if you ever go to Canada, sign up for Nexus because it's $50 for 5 years. It includes global entry and TSA PreCheck. By the way, global entry also includes TSA PreCheck.
See, that's what you want.
Well, that's if you just travel domestically, and you can get that for $85. But
I'm saying TSA PreCheck is great because it's much faster to go through security with that.
It is.
I love that, and you don't have to take off your shoes.
True, but global entry is better.
But you get PreCheck with global entry.
Exactly, and it's only $15 more. It's good for 5 years. So, but Nexus I use because I go to Canada a lot, and then, but the only problem with Nexus is that you have to make an appointment for your interview either in Canada or either Buffalo or Seattle, somewhere on one of the borders. So
yeah, I used to go to Canada every month. That would be that's when I should have done it. But
even if you go once a year, sometimes waiting in these lines.
Right.
Although Canada is not as bad as the U.S. I see these lines in the U.S. can be horrendous. But they're getting better.
And many countries have similar programs. So 2 tips from Johnny. mobilepassport.us. That's a federal government program in the United States. It'll get you through customs faster in only 3 airports. But hey, if you use those airports, that's great. And I can't wait to try this hotel. What is it? Dreamcheaper.com.
Dreamcheaper.com. You just forward your
my next hotel. I'm going to do it to them and see.
Yeah, and let me know how it goes.
I will. Johnny Jet, you got to follow him at johnnyjet.com is his website. There you can sign up for his free newsletter. It'll get you great travel deals. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram. There's always great stuff there. He's really active in the social networks, and I love talking to you every week. We'll miss you next week, 2 weeks from now. By then, I'll have my Apple Watch. We can talk.
And I'll be in another country.
But we never know. It's like Waldo. Where's Johnny this week? Thank you, Johnny. Leo Laporte.
Take care.
The Tech Guy. Where in the world is Johnny Jet? So I'm sorry to hear about that radio thing. But you travel so much, it was going to be hard.
I'm not that sorry. They postponed it. They said indefinitely for a few months, but my schedule, I'm going to 8 countries in the next 3 weeks.
And it seems like, I got to say, since I've known you, increasingly you are in the upper tier of travel writers. Like you're doing all the things now. You're going, I mean, you couldn't do more things than you're doing right now.
Well,
not to mention the sexiest travel writer in America.
You know that was my April Fool's.
Yes, I do, but I think it's true.
Most people did not. I was flattered that so many people actually bought it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who's going to vote me sexiest traveler? But it was a good.
I bet Natalie would.
Well, besides Natalie, I'm not even sure if she would.
Oh, come on. Of course she would. I think you're the sexiest travel writer ever. Anyway. Hey, what phone do you use these days?
I have my Apple.
Are you going to get the Apple Watch? Did you get all excited about the Apple Watch? You're going to run and get one?
I usually wait a little bit, but how about you? Did you get it?
I did.
And how do you like it?
Didn't get it yet. I ordered it last night. We could order it for delivery a week from Friday.
Preview? They should have gave you.
No, I don't get anything from Apple. It really makes me mad. So many little tiny things. People get it now, and Apple. I don't know if they don't like me or what. Actually, to be honest, to be fair, I haven't asked them for anything in ages, but they don't seem to like me because I never get invited to any events or anything. But Lisa says, "Well, just call them. Let's call them." I said, "I am not going to humiliate myself.
I'm going to call them for you.
I am not going to go to Apple and humiliate myself. Say, please, could I have a review unit? I'm not going to do that. Screw them. We wanted to review that little skinny light MacBook. Everybody got one of those, but it turns out you can't even buy that in the store. You go to the store, you can't get it. So I'm a little frustrated, but it's not me so much as the audience. I feel bad for my audience because I can't. Everybody else has walking around with their Apple Watches and their little gold MacBooks, and I just have to say, well, read Christina Warren's review because we didn't get one. What can I do? What can you do? Yeah,
I didn't get one either. If that makes you feel better. Which I know.
The day you start getting one is when I just go.
Although they did send me this phone, I told you that.
You see, you do get stuff from them.
But I mean, I've always was a Windows and Android user, but I was so sick and tired of not being able to use the apps.
Yeah.
Especially like Periscope.
No, you should have one. You need one. Do you Periscope or Meerkat?
I Periscope now. I mean, listen, when I Meerkat, I get 3 people in the room. When I Periscope, I get 1,000.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
It's insane.
I want to do something on our river cruise, but I don't think I want to do either Periscope or Meerkat because they don't get saved.
Well, Periscope saves for 24 hours.
Yeah. I guess I could save it to the phone and then upload it, but
and it gives you that option.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
But the problem is if you do a long video, you're going to start using all your
Well, it's a river cruise, so I figure I'm going to have no trouble getting.
When are you doing the river cruise?
We leave June 28th, I think. And
you didn't tell me this. Where are you going?
On Uniworld. We're going from Amsterdam to Budapest.
With June what?
June. It's mostly July. It's like June 28th through July 14th.
I'm going to be on a Uniworld cruise.
At that time?
No, in a couple weeks.
We're going to be on the Maria Teresa, their new boat. I'm very excited.
Wow.
Tell them hi for me.
I will.
Don't try to get anything free, though.
I won't do anything for you. Don't you worry.
Don't do anything for me. But I am excited. This looks like the best river cruise of all. I mean, I just can't wait.
I've done a bunch of river cruises. I just haven't done them. But you have
tell
a great
me
day.
After you have it. Have a great
All
time.
right.
Stay away from the bulls. Bye.
All right.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Richard is in West LA. Our next caller. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Leo. Good to talk.
Thanks for hanging on.
When Windows 8 came out, I downloaded it to Windows 7 machine.
Okay.
And several pictures that I cannot possibly replace were deleted. Question is, do you think that's going to happen with Windows 10 now that I have Windows 8.1?
Well, it shouldn't have happened with Windows 8. So I can't promise you it won't happen with Windows 10. It's not supposed to happen if you do an in-place upgrade. It's not supposed to delete any data. And it's weird that it deleted some, but not all.
That's what screwed me up. I saw some pictures and I said, oh, good, I survived, or they survived. And then I looked for some other pictures, which are from slides I had scanned in, and some of them were 40 years old. Gone.
Oh, but see, okay, I got to put a little burden on you to make sure you have copies in more than one spot.
Well, I didn't start listening to you when that happened. No,
Thank goodness you listen now.
I did not back.
No, well, you know what? This is a lesson for other people listening right now. If you have one copy of something, hard drives, things happen. And if it's something precious like a 40-year-old slide, make sure you got a backup. If it doesn't have to be Carbonite, our sponsor, it could be anything. Just have more than one copy if you can.
Well, right now I have 3 copies of every picture I've taken.
Right on. Me too. That's what I do. Yeah.
One other question, please. What kind of cables do I need, if that's what I need, to transfer pictures from a Nexus 7 tablet to my computer?
Well, there is just any USB cable. It has to be micro USB.
At one end and then the regular at the other?
Yeah, and then you'll plug it in the computer, and then the Nexus, any Android device will say, oh, I see you're plugged in. What mode do you want to use? And there's 2 modes for USB connections. There's Mass Transport Protocol, MTP, and Photo Transport Protocol, PTP. PTP will treat it like a camera. And your computer will say, oh, you've just connected camera memory to me, and it will do whatever you've set your Windows machine up to do when you connect a camera. Usually that's to launch a photo app. Mass will work too, but you'll have to go dig around in the file structure of the Nexus and find the DCIM folder, and inside there will be your photos. And so you have to dig around for it.
Right.
So either one will work, though. It'll look like a USB device, either a camera or just a storage device.
I see. Okay, well, thanks very much. I am backing up.
Back up. It's not supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen with Windows 8. It's not supposed to happen with Windows 10, but obviously, and they do warn you. They say, hey, we can't guarantee nothing bad's going to happen. Please back up your data before you do this.
Yeah, I understand.
My preference when you do a new operating system anyway is to wipe the drive and start over. That gives you a few benefits. One, the discipline of backing everything up. Make sure you have a good backup. In this case, you'd want 2 backups, right? So you don't have just one copy. And then it also gives you the good discipline of starting from scratch. So you don't want old Windows. Right now, you've got Windows 7 cruft, Windows 8 cruft, Windows 8.1 cruft. You go to 10, all of that stuff's, some of it gets replaced, but some of it doesn't. So best to start over. I always wipe my drive. On a major dot release like a 8 or a 10, I always wipe my drive. 8.1 you don't need to, but 8 from 7, 10 from 8.1, I would start scratch. It's called a clean install, and I always like to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I'm sorry you lost those photos. I hate, it just kills me because I don't want anybody to lose any data, and I know how fragile data is if it's stored in only one place. I don't care if it's the drive named backup. If there's one copy, it's not a backup. You really want and I'm thrilled to hear he was doing it, just as he did. You want 3 copies. And in 2 different places, preferably one is off-site, because that way you're protected. And if it's something precious, don't hold back, especially photos, because there's so many great ways to back up photos now. If you have Windows, Microsoft Office subscription, you get unlimited OneDrive storage. You can store it there. If you have Google or Apple, everybody now offers off-site backup. Carbonite. There's no reason not to have many copies. Please. Oh, it makes me sad. Steve in Redondo Beach. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Leo. Yeah, love listening to your show.
Thank you.
A lot of different tidbits that I get to use sometimes.
Marvelous.
So the question that I have is, I have my own Wi-Fi router, and my cable company just gave me a new modem with its own Wi-Fi. And I'm wondering, is it safer to use my private Wi-Fi router versus the one that they gave me?
Security-wise, it doesn't make any difference. You do want to go into either router and make sure you turn on WPA password protection. That's the only thing you need to do, by the way. Nothing else matters in terms of security.
Okay, so it's got the firewalls built in.
Yeah. Now, I have to say that routers themselves, because they're such inexpensive consumer devices, often have security flaws, and also they rarely get updated. So this is a concern. I don't know if you remember, on Christmas Day, some bad guys named the Lizard Squad, a hacking team, took down PlayStation Network and Xbox Network, so that everybody who got new games and new game machines couldn't use it all day Christmas. They thought this was funny, but the way they did it was quite instructive. They used compromised routers, thousands of them. So it is possible that, you have to keep your router firmware up to date. And what I would also do is Google, find out what the brand name of that router you got was, and Google it to make sure there are no security flaws. That is one advantage of owning your own, is you know what you got. The other reason I always buy my own is it's more up to date, and it'll usually have more features. But there's no strong security reason to use one over the other.
Okay, then another question I have is, I'm running Wi-Fi extenders.
Yeah.
Is it better to have like one extender running?
No, it doesn't matter.
One router and then the other one on the second router for speed?
No, what you'll do when you set it up is they all should be, you have one master router that's going to be the cable modem, that's going to do what they call network address translation. Sometimes you see DHCP. It's going to do the work. Every other router should be in bridge mode and connected to that main router.
Okay.
And that way they're doing no work. They're just basically repeaters, Wi-Fi receiver transmitter repeaters. And that's what you want them to do.
Okay.
And then you can have as many as you want. Well, I mean, within limits. I mean, eventually
I'm running 2.
Two's fine. That's what I do.
One off of one router and one off another router, so that because I only have 3. What do they call it? 300 Mbps. On each one.
So I see. You have 2 cable subscriptions.
No, I have one cable subscription, but I'm running 2 extenders.
Yeah, off
one off of each router.
What are the 2 routers?
I have a Belkin private router.
Oh, I see. Coming into the cable.
It goes straight into the cable box.
It sounds a little complicated. I would simplify as much as possible. You kind of have one route. You want one route for all data. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by my razor. I love my Harry's. Harry's razors, a great shave at a fraction of the price because Harry's bought the factory. This is the way to do it. This is what I love about internet entrepreneurs. They think big. When the folks who started Harry's, very nice guys, smart guys, said, we think we can do a better job than those very $8 blades at the drugstore. They said, well, how are we going to do this? They looked around. They found there are two, really only in the whole world, 2 factories that make the best razor blades. So they bought one of them. It's in Germany. And it's because Harry's owns the factory, they can sell the razor blades direct to you and save you 50% off those drugstore brands. Harry's will also start you off with a very nice kit. I use the Winston. That's $25. They also have the Truman set. I think I've got a Truman. Let me look here. The Truman has a colorful plastic handle. A lot of people prefer the Truman. Steve Gibson is a Truman user. This is what you'll get with the kit. And by the way, for $15, you get the handle. Oh, whoa, this is a Winston. This is the metal blade, so this is the $25 one. You get 3 blades, and these are those great Harry's blades made in their own factory. You also get, I love this, they never talk about it, the traveling cover, which is great for putting your razor in your DOP kit. It dries it out, protects you from getting cut. Here's the blades, the Harry's blades. And you get your choice of the Harry's foaming shave gel. That's what we've got here, or the Harry's cream. What a great deal. $25 for this, the whole thing. And I'm going to give you $5 off, so $20. Then I would suggest you don't have to signing up for your delivery, your regular delivery of Harry's blades, so you don't have to go and buy more blades. They are very affordable. You're going to get a great shave. Many say the best shave they've ever had. If you just search for people, I get tweets all the time on Twitter. People say, "Oh, we love our Harry's." I shave with Harry's every morning, and I love it. I love it. I used to shave in the shower, and I felt like, you know what? I'm going to save water. And I'm going to shave at the sink after my shower so my beard's nice and soft. And it's so luxurious. I love it. With the Harry's shave cream, the lovely Harry's blades. They make their blades and themselves and engineer them for sharpness and for high performance. And then they ship them free to your front door. Harry's. I want you to go to harrys.com, HARRYS.com. And enter the code TECHGUY, one word, at checkout. You're going to save $5 off your first purchase. That makes the Truman kit just $10. This Winston set just $20. Well, they also have engraving. And they've just started selling this aftershave moisturizer, which I have to tell you is phenomenal. Smells great and really makes your skin soft and pliable. The ladies will love it. Harrys.com/techguy. About half the price of razors in the stores, as little as $2 a blade or less. HARRYS, Harrys.com/techguy. We've always used this music, Art Chandra. That is the music since 2004. I think. Actually, no, maybe since 2007 when we started syndicating. Yeah, before then we didn't have to have any particular music. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. The place where we talk technology, kind of a user group of the airwaves. If you've got a computer, a smartphone, if you're trying to get a smart house, design a home theater, if you're into digital photography, anything with a chip in it, you found the right place. You don't have to be a geek to listen, but there are geeks here to help. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. I'm a geek and I'm proud of it. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Don't forget the website. That's the place. If you have, just like me, if you have limited brain cells left, one thing to remember, that's it, techguylabs.com. Imagine me in a lab coat with the Bunsen burners and beakers mixing up a brew. That's it, techguylabs.com. That's the website. The phone number's there. The link to the chat room if you'd like to join us in there is there. And every single show, hour by hour, question by question, we've got text, we've got audio and video after the fact, and places for you to comment. And you know what? It's free. I'm not going to charge you for that. I don't want your email address. I'm not going to send you a newsletter, nothing. I won't even know you visited. Just sneak in, get what you need, and sneak out. You're more than welcome. We have wonderful sponsors who pay for everything. We don't need you to pay, and I certainly don't want to collect personal information about you or anything like that. TechGuyLabs.com. Let's go on with the phones. Let's see. Jim is in Los Angeles. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Welcome.
I want to enter some pictures, images in a gallery show.
Great.
The instructions at the website say they want the images JPEG 72 DPI 1024 pixel. Okay?
That's very low quality.
Well, that's what they say. So now I'm not entering a photograph off my camera. I'm entering a print that I've made in the past, and I scan them on my scanner, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can scan them at 1024, but it's 600 DPI.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in the scanner. What I would do is I'd scan it at a higher quality. If you're going to scan it, why not scan it at a higher quality so that you can submit it in other regards? This is a very, very low quality. And obviously, it's online gallery or something.
What other way am I going to
scan it? Scan it at the full resolution your scanner can handle.
Well, I thought that's what that was.
Well, 1024 is certainly not.
No, but I mean, no. The when I scan it, I can get it up to. It says 2920 by 4140.
Yeah, do it the highest resolution you can. Don't save it as JPEG. Save it as a TIFF or some uncompressed. So JPEG is a very compact file format because, like MP3, they're taking bits of the picture out.
Right.
And so you want to use an uncompressed or a lossless compression format like TIFF. That way, the whole point is if you're going to scan it, get a good scan. You can always then open it in Photoshop or any photo editor. And
I can't do Photoshop. So
well, it doesn't have to be Photoshop. Any photo editor, the free. Are you on Windows?
Yeah, I'm on Windows. They have one there.
Don't use the one that listen, Irfan View, IRFAN. IRFAN View. It's free. You can. What you're going to do is you're going to have a nice high quality image, which you'll save for other purposes. Maybe you want to make a nice printout later, or whatever, or just back the thing up. Right. But then use Irfan View to make it whatever size the competition wants. And Irfan View will let you set it to 72 dots per inch, 1024 by 768, or whatever junky format they want, and then you send them that. But you keep your nice high res because you don't want to have to scan it again.
Okay. All right. Well, then the confusion I was having was their instructions say 72 DPI at 10 with 1024 pixels maximum, right? So I can resize it, but when I resize it to 1024, it's still 600 DPI. If I put it to 672 DPI, it's all the way down to 200 pixels. So which do I send?
Well, they're telling you the maximum, right? So I guess you have to go 72 DPI. You should inquire. I don't know because I'm telling you, that's a junky format. Maybe they do that because they want to reassure the photographers nobody's going to make prints of their photographs and sell them.
I don't know.
Because that is a very low quality. But that's fine. I would inquire to them. You understand that if I make it 72 DPI, that it's going to be a lot smaller. I think what they're doing is they're telling you the maximum. Because you're right. I mean, you can't both specify the resolution of the image and the number of dots per inch. Those two are related. And you change the dimensions of the image, the number of dots per inch are going to change. Irfan View, though, is very flexible. And if I were you, I would make it as good looking as you could within the parameters that they're telling you. It's so low quality. 72 dpi used to be what screens were capable of. Used to be, long time ago. For instance, I was talking about this new phone I have, the Galaxy S6 Edge. 72 dpi, the phone is 577 dpi. So if you gave me an image to display on this phone at 72 dpi, it would look terrible. Terrible. That's for the 72 dpi is the old definition of what a web page was, but nobody's. That's times have changed with Retina displays and high quality displays. It would have to be an old CRT to be 72 dots per inch. I guess you could, and you'll be able to do this in IrfanView. Tell it, here's the dimensions, and here's the dots per inch. We're not saying dimensions in inches, right? They're saying dimensions in pixels, 1024 by 768 or whatever. Very odd, but you can do it. Just get IrfanView. But my recommendation is scanning it at the full quality. Why bother scanning it if you're going to scan a terrible version of it? Sam in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Hello.
Hello.
Long-time listener. I wanted your advice, please.
Yes, sir.
I use an iPad because I'm visually impaired, and it really helps me because it allows me lots of manipulations and visual access. My problem is I've got an iPad, the third generation, and of all the tablets I've seen, it's got the best accessibility features. But I'm just about to upgrade to the iPad Air 2. And before I did that, I thought I'd check with you because you seem to have some sort of feel of what goes on. Am I going to get one and find out next month they're going to announce a new version?
Of course. But won't be next month. But of course.
Too busy with the phones and the watch?
No, they will definitely have a new version. No, they're not too busy. I think here's what's going to happen. Apple doesn't, I have no pipeline into Apple, and even if I did, they don't tell anybody anything. So there's always the risk that you buy a new Apple or any computer product and immediately get obsoleted by a new version. In fact, I'm kind of notorious for doing that. They call it the Leo effect. Every time I buy something, a new one comes out. However, I think you're pretty safe on buying the iPad Air 2. That came out in October, of course, not very long ago, about 4 or 5 months ago. And typically, Apple does a yearly release date on the iPad. There was one exception, and I think that's not going to happen again. Now, I do think that they're going to release a 12-inch iPad sooner than that. I suspect that we'll see a iPad Pro probably this summer, I'm guessing.
When do they usually announce that?
Well, normally they announce iPads in October. That's what they've done the last few years. There was that one exception when they went from the iPad 2 to the iPad 3 in 6 months, and it was infuriating. And I and many others were shaking our fists at Apple, saying, we just bought this. But Apple's more disciplined now. I think there were reasons they were doing that. From now on, I think you can pretty much say the new phones come out in September, the new iPads come out in October, and they're going to do that like clockwork. So you're safe if you buy now. And by the way, you've been using a really old one. You're going to love this Air 2. You're going to love it. It is great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I do think that you're going to see a more disciplined Apple going forward, where they adhere to these schedules. The one exception might be these iPad Pro, because I think they want to get it out quickly. I think they're really I keep hearing they're looking to kind of take on the Surface, the Microsoft Surface, with something that is in between the current iPads and a laptop computer. And that would be an iPad Pro. The rumors are 12 inches with a stylus, or at least pressure sensitivity. If you're an artist, you would wait for that for sure. That will be a great tool for artists. If you're visually impaired, as our caller was, it might be something to wait for, only because it's going to be a bigger screen. And I think it's possible they'll do that one sooner. If they could, I think they'd like to wait till October and just release everything all at once. But I think that they feel that this market is moving quickly. The iPad is starting to slow down. iPad sales have slowed down considerably. And I think that they want to enter this. They see it as almost a new market. So I think the iPad Pro is probably going to come out this summer. The June is their Worldwide Developers Conference. They don't tie product releases anymore. They have in the past, like laptops and stuff. But I feel like they're not going to tie a product release to WWDC. But maybe. Maybe. They're going to bask in the afterglow of the Apple Watch for a while. And maybe the MacBook. But what happens, so what's rapidly happening, I think, is they talk mobile in the fall, September, October, and they talk everything else in maybe early part of the year, spring. But same disclaimer, I know nothing. I can't even get a review unit, so... Well, people who use a Cintiq, for instance, would be very interested in a 12-inch lappable tablet with pressure sensitivity. Really, Bill B? Wow, that's an oldie. 5 years old now. We don't know what watch sales are, but I have to think the rumor was they were going to make 5.5 million Apple Watches for the first blush. I have to think they actually sold 5 million and within the first half hour. It's amazing. I don't actually, in a way, Palm Springs, I don't mind that I don't get review units. Because then I have there's no question in your mind about whether I am in some way predisposed to like a company. I don't like the idea that if you give me stuff, there's always this implicit. So the fact that I'm in a position now where I can afford to buy everything I review, I prefer that. We do get review units for our Before You Buy show, our product review show, because they review 5 products a week. And many of them are crap, and I don't want to buy them. But what I do is I buy the stuff that I know is important so I can have and I feel like I need to own it. So like this Edge, $859 down the tubes because I know I'll carry it for 3 weeks and then I'll be wearing a watch, Apple Watch.
Your views are untarnished.
I prefer it that way. I'm lucky that I can do it. When I started out, I didn't do that because nobody can afford to buy their own stuff when you're starting out. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. We're talking, I love them. We're talking high tech. Back to the phones we go. Derek in Seattle. Leo Laporte. Hi, Derek. Hello, Derek.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, informative show and whatnot. I enjoy listening to it. And
thank you.
I mean, I just had a short question. I'm not sure if it's within the scope of the program, but my friends and we've kind of conjured the question, is there much of a difference in regards to data and non-data phones, like smartphones versus slider phones, flip phones, and so on in regards to privacy and security?
That is a good question. There is no difference in the sense that you're using the same networks, the same 3G and 4G networks. Those are pretty secure. They're well encrypted. In the old days of analog cell phones, it was a simple thing to do to snarf the cell phone data and listen to it. You could drive behind somebody and listen to their conversations. That is much harder on these new digital networks, and so you're equally secure no matter what kind of phone you're using because they're all on the same network. There are other secure, and by the way, you're also equally insecure because the cell phone carriers universally cooperate with law enforcement. In fact, all the big ones have portals that allow law officers to, for a small fee, a few bucks, say, hey, where was Derek on the night of April 4th? And they'll tell him. They don't need a warrant or anything. That's called a pen register, and they're allowed to do that because that data is not considered private data. So the phone companies are happily selling that to law enforcement. So in that sense, you're equally insecure. Now, it's a whole different matter when you start texting, when you start using data. Of course, in that regard, because you can do a lot more on a smartphone, your security goes down. A flip phone, let's put it this way. If you're a drug dealer, get a flip phone. I know, I watch The Wired. That's what you do. If you're a drug dealer, you go down to your local drugstore, you get what they call a burner phone, you pay cash. So it is in no way associated with your person, and you use it, but you only use it for a week, and then you throw it away and you get a new one. And total security, and that's because it's not a smartphone. The minute you use a smartphone, oh boy. For instance, if you're a Verizon customer, every Verizon smartphone has they call it a super cookie associated with that phone that is transmitted to every site you visit, clearly and uniquely identifying you. Verizon has an opt-out policy, but it's arcane and baroque, and probably nobody even thinks about it. So assume that you're being tracked like crazy if you're using a Verizon smartphone.
Right.
So the answer is equally secure on the phone, not so secure when it comes to data. All right?
Okay, gotcha.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Good luck with your new enterprise. I hear there's a block up there on 43rd Street available. Rick in Alexandria, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Is that Alexandria, Virginia?
That's Alexandria, Louisiana, Leo.
Louisiana. Nice to talk to you.
Same here. Long-time listener. Hopefully you can help me.
All right, I'll try.
I work in a 10-person office. We currently are sharing a server with our landlord. Some of us are using Outlook. Some of us just are using Google. We're getting ready to move, and my boss has tasked me with finding a platform that everybody can use. The only requirement is we don't want to operate our own in-house server.
No, you do not. That is the worst thing you can do.
So I've looked at Office 365. I've looked at Google Apps for businesses, and the more I look, the more they look the same. So I'm hoping you can give me some insight and maybe some tips.
So in both cases, you're going to be using what's called a managed server. You won't be running the server. Somebody else will. In the case of Google for Work, of course, it's all on Google. You can go to many different independent providers who are running hosted Exchange. That's the name of the server Microsoft uses. Okay. Exchange, first of all, Exchange is so horrible to be running an Exchange server. It's very sophisticated, very challenging. So you really don't ever want to run your own if you can avoid it. But managed services are great, and it is much more capable. I don't know if you guys use SharePoint. But
no, we don't. But that's one thing. We want to be able to share calendars. We want to be able to collaborate on some documents, share some common contacts. So that's why we want to go to a uniform system.
As long as everybody's using Microsoft Office and Windows, Exchange is easily the best in terms of capability. Mm-hmm. We here at our studios, I have about 20 employees. We use Google for Work. And the reason is our needs are limited. Those people it's like the finance department needs to use Microsoft Excel, but they don't need a cloud solution for that. For the cloud stuff, we use Google Docs. The Google Docs are not as complete as Microsoft Office, not as powerful. But if they serve, it's usually less expensive to use Google and the Google Calendar and so forth. It's just, for instance, if you really want to use Outlook on your desktop, you should absolutely use Exchange Server. It does not work well with Google.
Right. And that's not a requirement. Like I say, about half of us use Outlook, half of us are using Google now. So really, that's why I wish the other would be easy to make.
It'd be a lot easier. By the way, you don't have to have a managed Exchange server. You can subscribe to Office 365, and Microsoft kind of handles all of that.
Yeah, that's one of the possibilities.
Yeah, that's a good way. And that's actually fairly affordable. I think that's a good solution. That's kind of, I do both. I have a Office 365 subscription for the stuff I need to use Office, and anybody who uses Office in our office has that. And then for most other people, though, Google for Work is all they need.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll just keep studying then.
Yeah, I mean,
they're kind of close. Even in price, they're not that.
No, they are, and of course, there's a reason for that, isn't there?
Yes.
They're very aware of Microsoft's very aware of what Google's charging. Yes. I think if you have people using Outlook,
we do.
Yeah. The problem is when you start using Macintoshes or Chromebooks
and we have Macs and PCs
and Android devices. Then Microsoft, although I have to say the new Microsoft is very friendly to non-Windows devices and getting more so all the time. For this very reason, they want to be able to say to an office like yours, it's heterogeneous, has lots of different kinds of people and machines. We've got a solution that covers it all for you. So my guess is Microsoft's going to get even more competitive in that market. It's probably a safe bet.
Thanks for your help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is a tough decision. And as you can see, we didn't really make the decision here at our studios. We have both. We have both. We do use Gmail for mail. I find it a better mail solution for almost everybody. And Gmail does work fine with Windows. It's when you start getting into those other applications that you want to start looking at, perhaps. If you're going to use SharePoint, if you're going to use Outlook, if you're going to use Outlook calendaring, all of that, it makes sense to use a Microsoft server. But don't run your own. Get somebody else to do it. No matter what, do not run your own. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. It's kind of funny. Microsoft's in the position Apple used to be. Apple used to have to play well with others because they were in the minority position. Now Microsoft has to play well with others because in some respects they're in the minority position. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Yes, Leo, last half hour of the Tech Guy Show for today. Bill in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Hi, Bill.
Hey, good afternoon, Leo. I have a two-part question for you.
All righty.
I use a Windows machine for my main computer in the office. I just purchased a MacBook Pro. Both have Office 365 on it. I travel about once every 2 months, and when I travel, I want to take all my mail, contacts, and calendars and have that on my laptop all updated. And how do I transfer those PST files to the Mac? And the second part of the question is, if I use POP email.
Well, that's the first thing. Stop using POP email. Start using IMAP. You won't have this question.
Okay, so if I transfer all this to IMAP, then my problem goes away.
That's the modern way to do it. POP is really out of date. POP goes back to a day when storage was expensive and your internet service provider didn't want to store your email, so they made you download it and delete it from their servers. Business has always used some form of IMAP or Exchange because it makes more sense when you use more than one device that you would have a central place where your mail is stored, and then each device can log into it and see the same mail. And all the sent mail is there, so you see it on all your devices. It just makes more sense. And now that storage is so cheap, there's no reason for Google or Microsoft or anybody else to make you delete it anymore. So if you use Gmail, if you use Outlook mail, in fact, almost all webmail solutions, they do that. They keep the mail on the server, and then you can either log in a browser and see it or use your mail client. And the mail client, instead of downloading the mail, well, actually, some clients actually still download the mail for fast access and offline use, but they don't delete it from the server. They just, you could think of the mail client as a window to a central store that is the same for all devices, and that's what you want.
Okay, so how do I take my current PST files, which has all my old emails in them, and upload them into
you can't
IMAP?
You can't do that either. What you should do is make copies of those, and you can use Outlook to archive those. They have that archiving feature because that's, to me, the chief flaw of Outlook is it stores everything in one massive file, which can quickly get too big to use, can get corrupted. It's a very vulnerable way to store mail. So they even include in Microsoft this ability to archive periodically, and that's what I would do. I'd create an archive PST file. Those can be moved over to another machine, but you can't upload them to an IMAP server. They don't want your old mail. Who's providing your email? Who's providing your email? Is it your internet service provider? Hover. Okay. Yes. So they offer an IMAP server.
Yes, and I've got a lot of subfolders in my mail.
And that's the beauty of IMAP, is all that folder structure is on the server and gets automatically duplicated to any machine you use.
Okay, so that once I change my email from POP to IMAP, they will upload all my.
The chances are you already, the reason they offer POP is for backwards compatibility. They would prefer use IMAP too. So the chances are all your mail is still there on their IMAP server. If you just flip the switch and say to Hover, let me use IMAP, start going to their IMAP server, I bet you'll see everything there.
But the mail won't be in the correct subfolders that I move them over to.
Well, that's the problem with POP, is that you make a local change, it's local, and it's on that computer only.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of a pain in the behind. So apparently Gmail can, I didn't know this, PH in the chat room saying Gmail can import PST files. So you could export each folder as an individual PST file and upload it to Gmail, and it would create a folder and have all that email in it. I didn't know that. That's a nice feature.
And if I did not if I wanted to keep my same structure I have now, how would I take the PSD files and put them in a Mac?
I think you could just copy those files over.
But I thought Macs did not use a .pst.
Well, they do if it's
Outlook 365 on a Mac.
Boy, I'd be shocked if it doesn't. The native Apple Mail client does not, but boy, I would expect Outlook to use it on the Macintosh. I don't know if not, that's a surprise to me. Outlook for Mail.
I've seen some applications on the net that will convert the PSD to a Mac or Outlook, and that's the reason I have my doubts whether the PSD file will work.
No, I'm looking right now. Outlook for Mac will import your PST files using the simple import tool. It's that easy.
Okay, and calendars and
well, a PST is everything. That's right. A PST is everything. So I'm looking at Microsoft's page for Outlook for Macintosh, which they've just updated. Now you can migrate to Outlook for Mac from Windows. Just bring your .pst and use the simple import tool. It's that easy. So there you go.
That's fantastic. I've got 2 opportunities.
There you go. Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks, Leah.
Yeah, IMAP is so much better. It's really the pop mail is used for historic reasons more than anything else. Although your internet service provider, particularly if they're very old school, spelled with a K, may still use POP. They may say, "I'm not going to store your email for you." I moved to Gmail more than 10 years ago and never looked back. I love IMAP. It is great. Now, Gmail's kind of a funny IMAP. It's its own IMAP. I use another company called Fastmail, Australian company. Fastmail. Actually, I guess they got .com. So I can now say fastmail.com. You pay them, but boy, they have a very nice, pure IMAP implementation. They can gather, just as Google can, gather mail from other servers, including POP servers, and store it in IMAP. It's a great solution for people. The reason I love Gmail is they have the best anti-spam filtering of all. I mean, it's just incredible. It just is such a great solution. Chris in Huntington Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Love your show. Listen to it every weekend. We're driving around.
Bless you.
I got a question for you. I've got a Dell Inspiron laptop, one running Windows 7, and back in October, I was hit by the CryptoWall 2.0 ransomware.
Oh.
I refused to pay the money.
Good.
I went in and after I panicked for about a day, I went in and used Share Explorer and recovered some of my files.
Good.
But and I'll admit too, I got way lazy and
no backups.
Doing backups
makes you vulnerable.
It sure did. And what I didn't realize later was, as I went back to the Share Explorer, it expires after a while. I mean, it bypasses the old files and updates continuously. So I got a bunch of files that are encrypted and probably compressed. And I just wonder if there's any key or some way to get out of that.
So this is horrible malware. It was just a matter of time before somebody figured it out. If we encrypt using strong encryption, we encrypt people's data, we can hold it ransom. And CryptoWall does it with strong encryption, and there's no way known to get it back.
Okay. Yeah, they wanted $500 within a week, then $1,000 a week after that, and I said, "I'm not." Good
for you, because that just funds it and makes it more prevalent.
Well, there's probably no guarantee they would even fix it, So
yeah. That's right. There are some exceptions because I seem to remember that there is a flaw in CryptoWall that it doesn't delete the original when it encrypts it. It just erases it. So an uneraser can sometimes recover data. But really, don't think you can unencrypt it. It's gone. Unless they didn't do a good job erasing the original. You're out of luck. That's why backup's so important. I tell you again and again and again. Get yourself some carbonite. Our fine sponsor, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The GizWiz coming up. I am just singing the praises. This is the pano feature of this Galaxy S6. Gorgeous panos and very easy. Handles light and dark, I think, incredibly well. And if you zoom in on these files, I don't know if I can. I'll tell you what. I'll put a link in the show notes. If you go to leolaporte.smugmug.galaxy-s6-edge, you can see all of these images, and you can see these are the original JPEGs. It's not my backyard. Somebody said, "Oh, you should clean up those dead trees in your backyard. It's a park." I don't have to. That's my wine cellar, though. And I took this picture because it was dark in there. This is because the low light performance is an f1.9 lens on the Galaxy S6. So the low light performance is just dynamite. That's turning on a light bulb. It's even better. And then they do this variable focus thing. It's such a nice camera. Somebody was asking about video. I posted some video there as well to show you. It's not the greatest video, I have to say. I'm a little disappointed by that. Let's see. Let's go back to the top. The video's at the very top. It does. This is let's see. This is 1920 by 1080, 60 frames a second. Whoops. Let's go back again. But you see, when I go full screen, it's not great. It doesn't look like 1080p. It looks pretty yicky. It's highly compressed. So it's a little disappointing. It also does a UHD. This is with stabilization. It has image stabilization turned on in video. And so this is handheld, and it is definitely doing a lot of stabilization. It's a lot smoother than it was. But the quality's a little disappointing, I gotta say. Fine for YouTube or something like that. Oh, maybe I'm not. Am I looking? Oh, let's see what it looks like if I go to 1080p. You could see this for yourself. This is all up on the website. Here is UHD. I think this is the UHD, which is like ridiculous resolution. But it's compressing it so much. I don't feel like it's that much better. So, for video, but all cameras are terrible for video. But for stills, it also has slow-mo and high and fast speed. This is slow-mo. Used to running down the hill in slow-mo. I think that's half speed. It goes as little as 1/8 speed. But it's really the images that just stun me. They're just the detail. It's incredible. Just really, really amazing. But you can see for yourself. I've posted into the show notes the images. These are all bright sunlight, so they should be good. Just very happy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. As always, this time of day, we say hello to Dick DeBartolo. He's Mad Magazine's maddest writer, but he's our gizwiz, the guy with the gadgets. Yes. Hello, Dickie D.
Yes. How are you, sir?
Very well. How's weather in Manhattan and Disneyland?
Today is the first good day. That big thing in the sky that lights up was back.
Wow.
I've missed it for like 4 months.
Welcome home.
Yes, I know, exactly. I thought maybe they were redoing it with LEDs.
It's a little brighter, but it'll never burn out now.
No, exactly. Yeah. And you have to go to the beach for 9 months to get a tan. That's the only downside of LED sunlight. Yeah.
What you got for us? You always come with
the car show's
stuff.
in town.
Yeah.
And I went to the car show specifically I wanted to see the Mercedes-Benz self-driving car. Because I don't drive. And this would solve two problems.
There's a solution.
Okay. Yeah, there's a solution. And the second solution is when I'm not driving it, I would just tell it to run around the city till I'm ready again.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to worry about parking. And you know what? Just for laughs, I was walking Fairway Wednesday, and I peeked in a garage. What do you think it cost? And you lived in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
So nowadays, what do you think it costs to park a car like in the West 80s along West End Avenue?
Remember, when I lived in that neighborhood, I was 2.
Yes,
So-
and it was 39 cents.
It was a nickel, I think, to park all day. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Isn't a nickel the number when people say, in 1910 a steak dinner cost a nickel.
A nickel. Yes.
When I went to the movies as a kid, it cost a nickel and that included a free bag of popcorn. When Henry Ford first
And
created the
Nathan
Model
Frankfurt
T,
is-
it cost a nickel. I would say it probably was not $5 probably to park all day in those days. 1956. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, now for a month's parking, a block from here is $852.
That's more than a room. You could rent a room for that in Petaluma.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so
$800.
$850. It was $676 and almost 19% taxes.
So what you really need, is a car that folds up into a pocket-sized square.
There you go.
You can just put it in your pocket and go home.
There you go. But I did end up seeing something that was dear to my heart. I've had a bunch of boats, 3 houseboats.
Yeah.
So I went over to see the American Eagle.
Yes.
45-foot motorhome. Ooh. Now I'm thinking you have a big backyard. I know you wanted a trawler, but this is a good option.
How does it do on the water?
Very badly.
Oh.
Very badly.
Okay.
But this has in-motion KVH TV. It's 8'6". It was 8'6".
What is in motion? That means you can drive and watch TV at the same time?
Exactly. Exactly.
So the antenna kind of adjusts?
Yeah, it's almost like a boat. It locks onto a satellite, and as you drive, it keeps going. It keeps moving around.
That's impressive.
So the interior, Leo, is 450 square feet for this motorhome.
Wow, you could park your car in there and save money.
Yes, that is about the size of my apartment. But the funny thing is, and not driving, I went downstairs at the auto show. Yeah. I wanted to see the electric car test track.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, God, there's nothing down here. I don't hear a sound. And then I see, they make zero noise.
Right.
And I was thinking, how do you avoid getting hit by an electric car?
Well, it's become an issue. In fact, didn't they decide to recall some electric cars to add? They were too quiet. They added noise to. Was it the Volt?
You know what? Seriously, I thought I'm going to get a picture of this and coming around, and I held the camera not up to my eye but down, thinking when I hear it coming.
Yeah, no, silent.
Yes.
Silent. So this is an electric RV. What does it get? A mile to the charge?
No. The RV is 600 horsepower diesel.
Oh, it's a diesel, but the little attached vehicle is electric.
Right. No. And then I said after the RV, I went downstairs to see the electric.
I'm sorry.
car.
I missed the sentence in between because I thought, wow, an electric RV would be.
Boy, that would be yes. And the battery is 90 feet long.
You tow it behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I thought maybe there's a little electric car that goes in the RV.
You know what? I bet you if you wanted that as an option, they could do it.
Wouldn't that be great?
They have you can get sides that slide out.
Wow.
30 inches to 54 inches. So if you want to, when you park, I was going to say when you dock, when you park.
When you dock, you can tell Dick is not a driver. No. He's a boater.
However, I did say to the guy, does this, you have 2 heads on this? I said, I'm sorry, bathrooms. And the guy said, we do call them bathrooms, but believe it or not, the kitchen is a galley. So
interesting.
On an RV,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know why they stuck. Huh. But anyway, if you're interested, that 45-footer is $699,000.
Well, it's cheaper than a trawler. And you can't get stuck in a tornado. Actually, I guess you could. Yeah. And tell me about the electric car again. Where is that?
The electric car, I just went down to see the test track. So they were running one electric car from every company.
Oh, it was all of them. Oh.
I was amazed that they make zero noise.
Oh, yeah. In fact, there have been state laws have been contemplated to add noisemakers to electric cars so that pedestrians don't walk out into the street in front of one because they don't hear it. We may not even be aware of this, but we use the ears to listen for vehicles as we cross the street.
Yes.
And it's not going to work with the electric vehicles.
No. To say the truth, the first time I thought it's a problem is when I was holding my camera saying, when he comes around, and then he yeah. And I
will, on a street, you will hear a couple of things. You'll hear the tires do make noise, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
And then there is sometimes a kind of a hum coming from the electric vehicle, a turbine hum. We were riding Segways the other day, and they were louder than I would expect, because that's all electric too, brushless motors and all that. But they get some noise. But I think they did. I wish I could remember which one. One of these electric vehicles, the manufacturer said, "Bring it back in. We're going to add a noisemaker." You drive. What they did is they put baseball cards in the spokes by the tires, so it's as it goes by you. It's great,
like we did on our bike.
Yeah.
It cheapens it just a little,
the slightest amount.
Yeah. So your electric Mercedes-Benz is $59,000. Would you like the $5 clothespin playing card attachment? It's another.
We're just going to have to start
those Mercedes.
We're going to have to start looking both ways again. And if you're blind, I think you're going to have to. I don't know what. Get a dog. I don't know what you do. I think it's a legitimate issue. Gizwiz.biz. That's Dick's website, gizwiz.biz, where you can read all about this American coach, American Eagle. This looks like a rock and roll bus.
It does. Yeah. Celebrities, that's why I thought you'd want one.
I'm thinking we could do this. The tech guy across America.
No,
He's coming to your town.
Tax write-off.
You can also have fun if you go to the website, click the Gizwiz, visit the tech guy. There's a link there to the things he mentions on the show. And don't forget the What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to win an autographed Mad magazine. All you have to do is identify a close-up photo of a gadget. You don't even have to be right. There's 12 autographed Mads for the wrong answer, 24 for the right. Gizwiz.biz. Thank you, Dickie D.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to our musical director, Nathan Staten, for spinning the discs today, doing such a great job. Thanks to Heather Hammond, the phone ranger, for answering the calls. Thanks to you for being here. I'm Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll be back next time. I hope you will, too. In the meanwhile, have a great geek week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the TWiT Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.